In ancient Greek mythology, there was a goddess named Athena. Athena is the daughter of the king of the gods, Zeus, and when she was born, she wore armor all over her body. She is the goddess of war. However, Athena will never start a war for selfish desires, and will always fight to protect human beings. Such as the battle with the ferocious and brutal of war Ares, the battle with the sea emperor Poseidon, and the battle with the Hades for the earth. The gods were constantly fighting each other fiercely for a time that was unimaginable for human beings. In these tragic wars, there was always a group of teenagers who pursued Athena and fought to the death. They are the saints who fought to protect Athena. They are young people from all over the world with justice and courage. For Athena, who didn't like fighting with weapons, these boys fought with their bodies. Its punches can pierce the sky, and its kicks can shatter the earth. Even now, when the world is gripped by evil, these warriors of hope are bound to emerge. However, the deeds of these heroic and adept youths are not mentioned in Greek mythology. Athena's Saint Seiya can be said to be more legendary and dreamy than myth. Then, a boy from another world visited this world. Yes, this is the story of a traveler who knows all the deeds of the future. His arrival made the Saint Seiya enter a new legend. In 1986, Japan will hold a world-famous fighting competition. The organizer is a girl named Sayori Shirato, the daughter of the largest group in Asia, Guladu Foundation. She succeeded her deceased grandfather Shirato Mitsuma as president, and is now the person in charge of the consortium. This competition has been planned for many years, and the time has come to hold it recently. Only 10 of the 100 orphans sent to the world 6 years ago were able to return as Saint Seiyas. Recently, the Gurudho Consortium has received this report. As you said, UCI. The girl with long purple hair sitting on the chair in the room said so to the boy with short black hair behind her. Yes, but miss, the real hard work has to start now, the boy spoke so softly. The place where they were was in the luxurious mansion of the Shiro family. Everything here is very precious, and some of the antiques are not out of the beauty of modern style. The chair the girl was sitting on was facing away from him, so she couldn't see her face clearly, only she could see that she was wearing a long white dress. The teenager, wearing black trousers and a long shirt with a white tie, looked like a housekeeper taking care of a famous lady. The boy's facial features are very straight, and his hair is messy but handsome. His eyes are very bright, and there is a kind of light that can see through everything. In a country where men and women are short, he is tall in a sense. Looks like 15 years old. But he has a height of nearly 1.75 meters, with broad shoulders, a firm waist and slender legs. Yingting's aura is very strong. Rather than calling him a housekeeper, he is more like a handsome boy in the style of a young warrior. If he changed into a gorgeous dress, whoever looked at him would be the young master of a rich family. Hearing his words, the girl did not turn her head, but instead smiled. But, with you by my side, I feel very reliable and at ease. That's my honor. The boy bowed his head slightly and greeted her. Time flies so fast. It's been half a year since I met you. During this time, I've always thanked you for doing so much for me. Although she is the young lady of a famous family, this girl speaks very elegantly, exactly like Yamato Nadeko in Japan. What to say, it's my job. The young man did not have a false expression. Facing this young girl, he had always been devoted to his duties. I really thank you for saving my life at that time. It's my mission to protect you, I've said that since the first time we met. The girl smiled slightly at this. This young man named Yuxing, of course, deliberately went to Japan to find the daughter of the Gulado Consortium. Speaking of which, it was a great coincidence, and when I was thinking about how to approach her, I came across the scene where she was attacked by terrorists. There was only a middle-aged bald-headed man beside him at that time. He looked ordinary except for holding a wooden sword. Facing dozens of terrorists with guns and hoods, although he was afraid of them, he did not leave the girl's house. Around. Yu Xing happened to meet them, he flew in front of them, and just raised his hand, a golden light flashed, and all the terrorists fell down in an instant. The girl knew that he was using the power of a Saint Seiya. In other words, he is a Saint Seiya? But when asked about it, he denied it. Although he is not a Saint Seiya, he possesses power that is extremely rare among Saint Seiya. Those terrorists knew that she was the president of the Chinto group, and wanted to kidnap her for money, but Yuxing prevented them from going to prison. After that, the police also arrived, and Sayori Shirato explained a little and left, personally thanking Uci for his rescue. At that time, Yuxing only said one sentence, "It is my mission to protect you." That sentence made Sayori Shirato puzzled and asked him. Yuxing told the whole story from beginning to end, and even revealed her true identity. Consternation can only be expressed in this word. Of course, Yuxing also introduced himself, and he even knew the true meaning of Shirato Mitsurugi holding the competition. Because it was too perfect, she had to believe it. Shirato Sayori was shocked when she heard her true identity, but she was worthy of being a famous lady, and she quickly calmed down. In order to learn more, he took Yuxing to the big mansion where she lived and told her everything he knew. Yuxing naturally did not refuse. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, if you miss it, it will be gone. Of course, some he kept secret. We haven't gotten to the point where we all know it yet, we can't tell until the time comes. For this reason, Sayori Shirato, who had heard so many things, fell into contemplation for several days. During this time, Yuxing has been a guest at the castle mansion, which is also her request. Then, he volunteered to act as her guardian from outside evil. Sayori has also seen Yuci's power to some extent. It is not surprising to say that he has the strength of the Golden Saint Seiya. To say guardian is a more pleasant title. In the outside world, he is called the bodyguard of the president of the Gerudo Consortium, and Yuxing has no personal dissatisfaction. Sayori Shirato also understands the mission that Uci said to Uci because he understands a lot of things. Knowing that it was out of sincerity, not purpose, so he agreed to be his guardian. The bond between the two started from that moment. After about half a year, Yuxing has been by her side, serving politely, and doing things very seriously. When Sayori went out, he followed, almost inseparable. His generosity and prudence in doing things made Sayori rely more and more on him. Maybe Yuxing's departure will make her feel very uncomfortable, and she will undoubtedly become the person she trusts the most. After getting to know Uci, Sayori Shirato's changes were extremely rapid. Her old lady's willful character gradually disappeared, and she understood a lot of the truth of doing things. Behind the scenes, Yuxing also pushed her and gave her the best advice. It's hard to believe that a person can change something so quickly after facing it. At least for the people in the castle mansion, they saw Sayori's change in their eyes, and the more they respected her from the bottom of their hearts. You only need to focus on this competition now, don't worry about other things. As long as it is for your sake, I have no reason to hesitate. For your sake, I will do anything. I have only one wish, miss, that you can live happily. Is this loyalty to Sayori Shirato or to that Sama? Sayori didn't know, but Uci's love for her was unquestionable, and she wanted to maintain the current relationship. Okay. Now it's just a girl who is the president of the Gerudo Consortium, and a boy who protects her with all her might. The encounter between these two people will bring about great changes in the world of Saint Seiya in the near future. Time passed, and the boys who became saints from all over the world came back with their holy clothes. In the blink of an eye, 7 people have returned to Japan. In the blink of an eye, the competition will start in 10 days, and now the Giotto mansion is reporting to the visiting media. It was not Yuxing who faced them directly, but Chen Yidemaru, the steward of the Gerudo Consortium. Uci doesn't want to attract attention at the moment, plus his responsibility is to protect Sayori Jodo, he doesn't care about other things at all. There are 10 saints coming to Japan. Excuse me, the so-called Saint Seiya means? Reporters from the media asked. In a room, Chen Yi was standing on the stage, with the projector to his left, explaining to the reporters. The media is invited to come here today to explain this matter, and please take a look at this slide first. The projector showed images of holes and boulders cracking, and many different things. The journalists in the media were, of course, at a loss. What is the purpose of putting these craters and traces of volcanic eruptions? Are these related to the previous theme? Chen had already scolded these people as Hill's bumpkins in his heart. He clearly said that he would explain it to them, but he could understand it elsewhere after just looking at a few pictures. This really made him feel helpless. But I can't blame them, after all, people in the world don't understand the existence of saints at all. These pictures above are the destruction caused by the saint Seiya with his own flesh, but he still explained it carefully to the media. How is this possible? You mean, the so-called saints fight with some kind of fighting technique, like karate or boxing? It is natural for journalists to have questions. It's not like that. It's completely different from the fighting skills that have been used so far. They burn the power called microcosm in their bodies to burst out amazing destructive power. Saints have the destructive power of smashing atoms, so they can do things that surpass humans. Extreme behavior. If you describe it with specific numbers, even the low-strength Saint Seiya can get Mach 1 for their punch speed. Chen's last words shocked them. Mach 1. Can you hit a sonic punch? That's right, as you all know, the speed of sonic punch is 340 meters per second. In other words, if the distance from the enemy is 3.4 meters, they can throw 100 punches in 1 second. The reporters were sweating with horror at the power of the saints. It seems hard for you to believe, but there are actually a lot of their deeds in history. For example, things like the defeat of Napoleon, the defeat of the Yuan Cao, the collapse of the Roman Empire. Those are considered historically the major events that miraculously reversed the situation and turned defeat into victory. In the end, are all related to the secret assistance of the Saint Seiya. Without explaining it clearly, these people still don't understand anything. Chen has bit the bullet and continued to talk, but a new question comes again. I understand a little bit. But what is the purpose of gathering so many saints to come to Japan? About this. Just as Chen was about to speak, he heard footsteps. I'll explain it later. A girl's voice. Ah, ma'am. A girl with long purple hair in a white dress. Ah, that's Sayori Shirato. She is Japan, no, the granddaughter of the president of the largest Gulado consortium in Asia, Shirato Komesa Sayori Shirato. Because Mr. Shirato has passed away, he is now the person in charge of the Gulado consortium. And she. When the media reporters saw Sayori's appearance, their eyes were about to fall out. Compared to her being the successor of the Gulado consortium, they were astonished by her appearance. Noble and beautiful. They were drooling like that, staring at her with wide eyes. Sayori went up and said to all of them, I think everyone should know that my grandfather was very interested in martial arts during his lifetime. Almost all kinds of martial arts related conferences in the world are sponsored or held by my grandfather. The year before my grandfather passed away, I got a certain box from Nordic. The holy clothes are all from Greece, but she said Nordic, which is obviously lying to the people in the media. But she also had a last resort reason to say so. The appearance of the box further confirmed the existence of the Saint Seiya. The grandfather also prepared a rather amazing plan and implemented it at random. He adopted 100 potential orphans from all over the country and brought them together. They are sent all over the world, and their mission is to do everything possible to become saints. They are sent to places where they are trained to become saints in order to obtain holy clothes and return to Japan. The so-called sacred clothes is to become proof of the Saint Seiya. Sayori spoke clearly enough to make the people here surprised and admired Shirato Koze so much. But in the past 6 years, there have been reports of 90 people missing. Speaking of which, her expression was a little dark and a little sad. In other words, there are 10 people left. Someone in the media asked this question. Yes, the remaining 10 people have successfully become Saint Seiya, and 7 of them have also arrived in Japan. Please take a look at it, that is the proof. A switch in front was turned on, and 7 boxes of the same color appeared from the inside, but the drawings were different. Ugh! That is. These are holy clothes, or someone's ability to understand makes them understand. Is this the holy garment? Then what I said earlier, these are the facts. They were shaking with shock. The remaining 3 should arrive in Japan soon. When all 10 Saint Seiyas arrive, we will be able to see an unprecedented battle. She deliberately increased the volume of the war. Big battle. Shouldn't it be? That's right, Japan is about to hold a battle competition between Saint Seiya and Saint Seiya. Sayori announced this to the media. This is what Mr. Shirato did. To create a Saint Seiya with the power of the consortium, and then the biggest battle in history in Japan. This is simply the most sensational event in Japan this year. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away 5 years ago, and I was unable to see this day come. I will carry on his legacy and continue to this day. The death of Shirato Guangzhang was the biggest blow to Sayori. Not only has he lost his only loved one, he has not been able to witness the battle. However, this is not possible. After all, people also have a lifespan, so you can't blame anyone. Next, I will rely on the help of friends from the media to make my grandfather's dream successful in front of the world. I think this will be a battle that far surpasses the duel in the ancient Roman arena. This is indeed a very fascinating topic. People in the world don't understand the existence of Saint Seiya, if their power is really that powerful. Indeed, the battle of the Saint Seiya may attract the attention of Japan, no, it is the world's attention. But, will they accept such an arrangement? Those arrogant saints will kill each other for this. To be clear, who wants to do a meaningless battle? It will only hurt your own body. Who would be such an idiot to have trouble with their own body? Don't worry about that. Sayori wasn't surprised, rather, it was expected. Because there's something that could make them fight with their lives, and that's the box my grandfather got from Northern Europe. As she said that, the garment box suddenly made a sound. Hey, what's wrong? The 7 cloth chests resonate. How is this going? The reporters from the media stood up and walked in shock. They didn't understand what was going on. The 7 sacred garments here, whose official name is bronze cloth, are also the lowest rank among the saints. At the lowest level. So to say. Sayori said that they were the lowest level, so there must be intermediate or highest level, the media thought so. Yes, after bronze is the silver cloth, and what the winner of this competition can get is the highest rank among the saints, that is the golden cloth. Above the 7 bronze-collared chests, there is a golden chest with a design in the shape of a centaurus. It stopped the resonance of the 7 sacred garments. It's as if they were afraid of the appearance of the golden cloth. It's amazing, it seems that the saints will really risk their lives to fight for it. The biggest battle competition in history is about to begin. They have realized the importance of this competition, and it really surpasses any fighting competition. Here, I want to show you the fighting methods that Saint Seiya possesses. I believe you will be more devoted to this competition after reading it. Sayori first closed his eyes and said, and after speaking, he glanced at Jinji, motioning for him to hurry up and carry out the previous work. At the back door of this room, a few people came in suddenly. They brought in a few 20 centimeters thick stone walls and lay on the backmost wall. What is this for? Do not know. The media naturally do not understand. You star. Yes, Sayori said this, and from his left came a handsome boy. Still wearing his black butler's outfit, he came to Sayori's side. "Let me introduce to you, he is Yuxing, who is a bodyguard for me." "Bodyguard?" Sayori's words caused question marks to appear on the reporters' heads. Why should such a person come out? Yuci stood there with his eyes closed, listening to Sayori's words. He is not a saint, but he has the power of a saint. I want him to show you now, please pay attention. He gestured to look at Yuxing. Yuxing opened one eye to look at her. "Please give it to me." Yuxing smiled at her. Although he didn't want to show his strength in front of ordinary people, he couldn't do anything right now. Even if it was Sayori's willfulness, he planned to accept it. However, it has been discussed with him before, and it cannot be said to be willful. Yuxing tried his best to control his power and minimize his lethality. The moment he opened his eyes, the power that ordinary people could never see had already been emitted. A loud bang. Everyone was startled, the voice came from behind them, and everyone looked in surprise. Several stone walls that were moved into the room were smashed to pieces in an instant. Everyone knew that it was not an explosion like a bomb, but something like an explosion in Yuxing's body. How could this be? The stone walls are all shattered. The reporters screamed in shock. Even the back wall was punched with a large hole. The saints who participated in this competition can do things like this. Yuxing said this for the others, followed with a salute and left the place. Wow! The amazing picture in the projection image has come true in front of us. If all 10 Saint Seiyas with such destructive power gather together, it will be an unimaginable battle. Looks like the biggest battle in history is about to begin. The media were too shocked to say anything, and this press conference was a perfect end. Really, I would do such a thing. Back behind the scenes, Yuxing couldn't help sighing. Showing the power of a Saint Seiya in front of ordinary people or in front of reporters is not his style at all, nor is it the right thing to do. In fact, it is better for Saint Seiya to keep it secret. Although he knows the real purpose of this conference, he also has some thoughts that he does not want to show his power to the world. This violated the rules of the Saint Seiya world, he knew it. However, since it was Sayori's request, he had no reason to refuse, because no matter what, the goddess would forgive him. "Sorry, Yuci." Behind him, Sayori came over with a "I'm very sorry" face. "It's nothing, just to this extent." When Yuci said this level, he meant that it didn't matter to show this power. After all, it was only the level of Bronze Saint Seiya. He has a very powerful power on his body, but this is still a secret and cannot be known to outsiders. It's really hard for you to control your power to the level of a Bronze Saint. This is Sayori's sincere words of condolence. He knew Yuxing's strength, but let him suppress most of his strength, using less than 1% of his strength. This is also a kind of practice, it's okay. For Yuci, suppressing power and fighting is a regular thing. But only at the level of bronze, it is really difficult to achieve. So switch your mood and treat him as cultivation. Thank you. Thank you, Sayori, from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome, whatever you ask me to do is my honor. This is Yuxing's unquestionable sincerity. Then, a week passed. Showa 61, Wednesday, September 10, 1986. The biggest battle in history has begun. This battle is called the Galactic War. The reporter is currently located at the new Tokyo International Airport. You can see from the picture that the situation here is as crowded as people from all over the world, including news media practitioners from various countries, as well as people who want to watch the Battle of Saint Seiya with their own eyes, all came to Japan one after another. Although the opening will be held in 3 days, there are already long queues around the venue, and the venue will be surrounded by all. The venue this time was also built by the largest Gerudo consortium in Japan, and it can be said to be a modern arena. As the reporter said earlier, Sayori Giotto let the ancient Roman Colosseum reappear in front of the world in a modern style in Japan, and its name is Gerudo Arena. The reason why it has not yet opened is because there are too many people watching, so it must be in advance. At the opening ceremony 3 days later, many balloons flew in the sky to celebrate the official start of the day. In the eyes of the whole world, that day has finally come. This Guladu arena, which can accommodate 100,000 spectators, has long been blocked. Even the spectators who were unable to enter the arena could hardly hide their excitement, and they still revolved around the arena and refused to leave. Because each game will be broadcast synchronously through the screen outside the field. Hey, the game is finally starting. Well, after lining up for 3 days, it's finally not in vain. In the auditorium, the teenagers who were eating snacks were talking excitedly. Suddenly, the domes on both sides above are slowly covered, and it is said that the top of the ancient Roman Colosseum can also be opened, so that even if it rains, there is no need to worry. Then the lights suddenly went out, and everyone was still surprised. The sky, no, it should be a starry sky emerging from the inside of the dome. Then something else appeared, and a crystal panel that appeared out of nowhere floated in the air. The person in charge of the commentary is also giving a report to the audience. Thank you to all the spectators for being able to come to the Guladu arena today. Before the start of the game, we have to make some explanations. In order to protect their lives, this conference has formulated the rules of the game. This competition will be played by elimination. The rule is an unlimited best-of-3 system. When a player falls, if he fails to get up within 10 seconds, the computer will automatically declare him lost. Support in the venue. The panel will simultaneously display the speed of punches and kicks of the Saint Seiya during the battle, as well as the amount of impact, pressure, and damage in the attack, which are calculated by the computer. In addition, there are no violations or prohibitions in the rules. If a person is killed in the game, it is also the responsibility of the saint. And the saint who can successfully defeat the other 9 opponents in the end will be awarded this golden saint clothes. Then please look at the center of the top. The founder of this conference, Ms. Sayori Shirato, will come to the scene to give a speech. On the roof, Sayori floated above and flowed, causing the audience to open their mouths in surprise. She literally walks from the galaxy. It's so beautiful, it's like a real star princess. The audience was full of praise for Sayori. Sayori was wearing a drop-shoulder maxi dress that was different from the previous one, with gold ornaments on her belly, neck, and head. She also wore a necklace around her neck, and she held a golden staff in her hand. Everyone, welcome to the Guladu arena today. As the host, I, Jato Sayori, welcome you from the bottom of my heart. Then, she began to make a speech. As you all know, the Saint Seiya uses the constellation as the patron saint and obtains the holy clothes of that constellation. In other words, there are as many Saint Seiyas as the number of constellations. North Sky 29, South Sky 47, and the one that separates North Sky and South Sky. The zodiac, in other words, the 12 constellations in the orbit of the Sun, are called the zodiac constellations. These 12 constellations are among the 88 constellations, and only 12 of them have been given the highest position of Saint Seiya. And the sacred garment that only these 12 people are allowed to wear is that one, the golden sacred cloth. After he finished speaking, he pointed to the golden box on the left. UCI looked at Sayori above him in a large room with glass partitions. A slight smile appeared on his face. This time in the Galactic War, the holy robes owned by the saints who aimed at the Sagittarius golden robes are correctly called the bronze robes. My grandfather, Shirato, who died 5 years ago, the year before his death, Koze got this golden cloak by chance, and thus obtained the existence of Saint Seiya. His grandfather was very interested in all kinds of fighting during his lifetime, and he planned to hold the super fighting tournament of Saint Seiya, so he gathered talented people all over the country. Boys, send them all over the world to train to become saints. Then please look forward to the biggest battle in history. Sayori said these words to reporters before, but explaining it to the audience at the scene is another matter. Miss, this contest will not be able to go to the end no matter what, regardless of whether the golden cloak exists or not. it will be stopped in the middle. Although I am sorry for the audience, this is also impossible. After all, in order to draw out the evil forces in the sanctuary, I have to do this. You haven't awakened as a goddess yet, so all I can do now is to quietly guard you by your side so that you won't be hurt. The most important thing is that the time has not come yet. Yu Xing was talking to himself. He didn't tell anyone, he was just telling himself. The games of the conference are held in groups, and each person has a number from the form of ABCD. Then the first game assigned, is the Unicorn and Cub game. Sayori finished her speech and came to the room where Yu Xi was. Thanks for your hard work, he bowed his head in consolation. Sayori went to a chair with a back in the center and sat down. Finally waited for this day. Rather than being happy, Sayori was even more helpless, as if she sighed. Actually, I don't think it makes any sense to hold this conference, because the evil forces are in the sanctuary, and you don't need to do this if you only need to know. Yu Xing wasn't afraid to offend Sayori, to be exact, she knew about it. However, I can't let my grandfather's long-term wish not come true. These wandering stars also understand. Wait until that guy appears, and the 8th Achievement Conference will be suspended. It will become very troublesome then. This problem is not small, because the audience is so looking forward to it, but it ends halfway, and it is very chilling for anyone to change. It's not that Sayori doesn't care about this, she's also worried about it. Even so, it has to be held. It's really like your approach, miss. Instead of reprimanding, Yu Xi praised Sayori instead. Yu Xing, why do I think you are mocking me? Sayori looked at him, half-jokingly. Satire or something, I'm so terrified. Yu Xing looked at her with a smile, looked at Sayori like I can't tell you, and raised a white flag of surrender to her early on. Even if it was a joke, he didn't want to make Sayori unhappy. However, Sayori burst out laughing. I think it really looks like you. I'll admit it frankly, but only for you. Because Yu Xi knew Sayori's identity, and she heard about it from him, in a sense, she understood Yu Xi's concern for her. After that man appears, I just need to get rid of him, and then let me destroy the arena, and there is news that the golden cloak has been stolen. No matter how unwilling the audience is, they can only give up. Yu Xing's words did not take this matter seriously at all, and did not treat it as a major event. Is it the right thing to do? Sayori was confused, of course. What we have to do now is to draw these Saint Seiyas together to fight by your side, although I don't think there is any problem with me. However, as a goddess, companions are also necessary. Yu Xi said that, causing Sayori's eyes to lose their luster even more, but they quickly recovered. I know, Yu Xi. I have to change because this is my destiny. All of a sudden the eyes are filled with color. That's right, miss. Do you remember what Shirato Mitsusegi told you when planning this meeting? Maybe the meeting was hindered by the devil's hand with amazing power. At that time, you must not be discouraged, and you must fight with the Saint Seiya and the others. Go and destroy this evil thing. Yes, indeed, and the real purpose of this convention is to draw out the giant demon lurking in the darkness, and the arena was built for this purpose. Those teenagers who were sent all over the world 6 years ago have hatred for you. They are orphans, but you are a chaebol lady with relatives who can eat and sleep well. They envy you because of their envy. And hatred. Envious. Sayori wanted to ask, is that just that? Miss, didn't you use them as toys when you were young? This is also because they were dissatisfied with you, and the estrangement caused by them. Now the plan is just the beginning. If you talk to them, it will only have the opposite effect. It's clear too, right? Sayori has understood a lot and learned a lot since he met Yu Xi. Now that I think about it, I really regret what I did to them at that time, but I can't do anything about it when I was a child. But it doesn't matter. I will definitely help you. Uci leaned over and placed his right hand on Sayori's left shoulder. These people are not stubborn people, and they still don't know that you are no longer the old Sayori. Can I do it? Even if Sayori was told that, he didn't have much confidence that he would definitely be able to do it. Definitely, even the beautiful and noble goddess Athena did not forget her female-like tender heart when she came into contact with the 10 saints. Yu Xing suddenly stood up straight, looked at the stage and shifted his attention to her. Like a woman. Sayori watched him, waiting for Yu Xi's reply. Yes, you need to make others' hearts turn to you. You can't rely on status and power, and you can't command others with an arrogant heart. This is the leader. Wandering star, don't forget, miss. It's a female-like tender heart. The unicorns Ahuu and Kublio Man, who had already started to fight in the audience, were already fighting each other. In the eyes of ordinary people, it was an unprecedented battle. It fits the term the biggest battle in history perfectly. Speaking of Xia Wu, he held a grudge against Yu Xing. Uci could see that he was infatuated with Sayori, but Uci completely ignored him. Sayori is very kind to Uci, always takes him with him and always cares about him. Although Xia Wu also knew that he was a bodyguard, this time when he came back, Sayori didn't even look at him at all, and he didn't care much if he just agreed a few times. Zhou, who was riding a horse when he was a child and wagging his tail at Sayori, couldn't understand that she was good to other men, so every time he saw Yuxing, he glared at him. As everyone knows, Sayori's changes have been drastically different, and her current mentality has grown rapidly with the arrival of Yuxing. The willful character has long since disappeared. Sayori cares about the saints completely as a sponsor, and doesn't maintain a very friendly relationship with any saints. However, since they came back, everyone has also seen her changes, and their goodwill towards Sayori has continued to increase. By the way, Zhou once proposed to Sayori to fight Uci, ostensibly to test his ability to serve as her bodyguard. If he wins, let him resign as a bodyguard and leave her side. This kind of willful request thanked him for being able to say it. Sayori could see that she wanted to compete with Yu Xing, but she was not angry with the evil martial arts, but felt helpless, and finally agreed to a duel. As Sayori's guardian, Sayori told him to ask him to show his strength. Yuxing agreed to him and took over the battle. As a result, Xia Wu was instantly killed in an instant. After Yu Xing avoided his blow, a hand knife fell on his neck, knocking him unconscious. For a few days after that, Xia Wu didn't speak to him and stayed far away. Just seeing Yu Xing will stare at him angrily, making Yu Xing sigh and helpless. It's best to leave this kind of person alone, he told himself in his heart. Meanwhile, it is night time in Japan and morning time in Greece. There is also an upcoming game to become a Saint Seiya. Greece is the area around the Temple of Athena, and because it is guarded by a barrier, ordinary people cannot enter it, and there is no way for them to even notice its existence. Sanctuary is the birthplace of Saint Seiya, and there are a lot of Saint Seiya coming out from here. Like now, a new Saint Seiya is about to be born. The original protagonist Seiya was in an arena, and beside him stood a very tall and ugly big man with a bloodthirsty look on his face. There were many people standing around. A man with a face mask was standing on a high place, wearing a large white robe. He was standing at the top of the Saint Seiya, that is, the Pope. It rules the sanctuary known as the base camp of the saints, and it is the mission to see through the people who have given the qualifications to the saints. When Athena is away, he rules all the saints and rules the sanctuary. The agent of Athena in her absence, the one with the highest authority in the sanctuary. The election of a new pope is usually only for those who possess both benevolence, wisdom, and courage among the golden saints to be directly nominated by the modern pope as their successors. Even visiting neighboring villages is a matter of work, and in other respects, even the lowest level bronze saints will stand in front of them in the decisive battle of the saints in the sanctuary, and the duties are very busy. Now it's also a matter of work. As of today, you have defeated 9 players to win here, and there are only 2 of you left among the 1024 warriors. Then, the 2 of you go to fight. The winner will give the Honorable Athena proof of Saint Seiya, give this Pegasus holy garment. The original protagonist Seiya, wearing a yellow dress, is not tall, with short black hair, slightly darker skin, average appearance, but a look on his face. Is that the holy garment of Pegasus? I came to Greece from far away for that holy garment. Looking at the holy garment, Seiya said excitedly. The big man standing next to him glanced at him, and while Seiya was not paying attention, he hit him, and held him up in his hands. Wow Seiya, I won't give you the holy garment, it belongs to the Greeks, Mr. Cassios. A woman rang out in the cluster and ran out, a red-haired woman with a mask. Cassios, your sneak attack is so despicable. Indeed, before the official start, using this kind of trick, there is no way to call it despicable. Magic Bell, it's his own stupidity to be seen by his opponent before the battle, go, my Cassios. The speaker was a green-haired woman, also wearing a mask. But even though he was attacked by surprise, he was worthy of being Seiya, who completely mastered the skills of a Saint Seiya when Cassios was about to cut off his ear when he was about to speak. The sight surprised the soldiers present. Ears, my ears! Cassios looked at Seiya angrily while covering the bleeding place where the ear was cut off. Cassios, I'm not the Seiya I used to be. What? Seiya waved to him. However, in this duel, Seiya completely gained the upper hand, and he beat the rough man Cassios to the point of being bruised, and he couldn't even hit him with a single punch. This time he blocked his right fist. Even with the huge difference in physique, Seiya easily suppressed him. Don't you understand? You only have the surface destructive power of the Saint Seiya in your body. Do you feel the existence of the universe in your body? You mean the universe? Cassios is a little baffling. Seiya nodded, remembering what Mo Ling had said to him 3 years ago. Listen, stones are made of atoms, and your body and I are also made of atoms, and everything in this world is the same. Even the shining stars in the sky, understand? The so-called root of destruction, is to smash the atom. Seiya, concentrate all the power, concentrate all the energy in your body, concentrate on that point, and use that punch. After realizing it, Seiya really smashed the big stone with one punch and successfully learned the technique of Saint Seiya. Seiya, the universe was born in a Big Bang more than 15 billion years ago. In other words, your body is also one of the small universes that was born due to the explosion. The magic bell looked at the starry sky and taught Seiya in this way. Small universe. The real Saint Seiya produces superhuman power by exploding the microcosm within himself, then divides the earth and smashes the stars. Seiya, try to explode your own microcosm, and turn your fist into a shooting star, like a shooting star, meteor. Seiya was a little dazed, there was nothing he could do at his age. The magic bell pointed to the sky. Your ruler is Pegasus Seiya, who had returned from his memory, declared to Cassios again. Cassios, I repeat, you lost. Idiot, if I can really see the universe in your body, I'll give you the holy clothes. For this kind of person, they can only smash the surface of the destructive attack, and can't understand the method of the Saint Seiya's burning internal fighting skills. At this time, Seiya's hand kept waving. What? What's Seiya's starting move? The soldiers shouted in surprise. Pegasus. Seiya's fist is drawing the trajectory of the 13 stars of Pegasus. The green-haired woman with the mask had seen it, and thought so in her heart. Damn, this kind of thing to deceive children. Cassios was startled at first, but rushed up immediately. Wait, Cassios, don't approach Seiya. The green-haired woman called him, but it was too late. Seiya rushed up and punched out. Pegasus meteor fist with one punch, the small universe in the body exploded, and many white meteors flew to the center of Cassio's body. More than 80 punches hit him, causing him to spit out blood, and his body suffered considerable damage. Can't afford it. It has been judged that it is impossible to continue fighting. After the battle, the Pope stood on the stage and announced, Athena recognizes Seiya as the new Saint Seiya, and is here to give Saint Seiya the holy garment of proof. Seiya happily ran up and hugged the garment box. Great, great, finally got the holy garment. And give Seiya some advice. The Pope is wearing a mask, and his face cannot be seen. However, his tone seemed very serious, making people ignore it. Seiya was also frightened. Saints have guarded Athena and upheld justice since ancient times, and that holy garment can only be worn when upholding justice, and must not be worn for selfish desires. The shameful act of disgracing the holy cloth, at that time, not only Greece, but Saint Seiya from all over the world will unanimously target you and give you the most severe punishment. You must keep this in your heart, Seiya. The Pope's words are as a leader to educate the new saints so that they will not go astray and lead to tragedy. Seiya nodded, indicating that he would keep it in his heart. Damn Seiya! The green-haired woman looked at Seiya hatefully. That night, the robbing of the holy clothes happened, and the green-haired woman was Seiya. Seiya was so happy that he couldn't sleep all night after he got the holy clothes. He wanted to open it to see but was stopped by the magic bell. Then trouble happened, and he escaped with him. Seiya came over to grab the holy clothes, but Seiya was defeated. Finally, she put on the Pegasus holy clothes, used a meteor fist to defeat a group of miscellaneous soldiers, and threw a punch that surpassed Mach, causing the mask on Seiyuna's face to fall off. Her true face, this is also the reason why she wants to kill Seiya in the future. In the Galactic War game held in Japan, the first game was played for a long time, and the audience was very excited to watch it. It was the first time in their lives that they saw this kind of passionate and exciting battle. However, some people don't think so. On the stage, Yusei, who was standing beside Sayori, felt very bored, so he closed his eyes and didn't watch it. What's wrong? Yusei. Sayori saw what was wrong with him and asked him. No, nothing, to be honest, the level is too low, he can't stand it, and he can't express his dissatisfaction for Sayori. You don't lie to me. Sayori is also a smart person, how could he not see Yusei looking bored? I can't beat you. Opening his eyes, he smiled wryly. Then, what happened? In my opinion, the battles of the Bronze Saints are always just children's play. That's true for you. Sayori also understood this, so she looked away with a wry smile on her face. The two people in the arena are just ordinary bronzes and have no potential strength, so their fighting skills are very low. Let's not talk about the small universe and other aspects, they only fight with their fists and have not grasped the true nature of true saints. Pith. So, it's boring. Yusei didn't shy away from it at all, and Sayori didn't get angry because of it. The battle between Zhou and Man has never seen any unique tricks so far. It's just a battle of fighting skills in holy clothes. These are also needed in the battle, but if they are all these, it will be too monotonous and boring. At least Yuxing thought so. For him, unicorns and Leo cubs were ignored from the start. The Bronze Saint Seiya he favored was just those few people, and the others were just supporting roles in this competition. What he was waiting for was the real protagonist. Therefore, in the first battle, he had no interest at all. Everything is too ordinary, whether it's fighting skills or a small universe. Too weak, really too weak. If it wasn't for Sayori's presence, he would have turned around and left. In the end, Xiaowu of Unicorn won the victory, ending the first day of the game. Then, the next morning, Sayori looked at the photo of his grandfather in the Giotto family's mansion and murmured, "Grandpa, the first day is over. Please protect Sayori tomorrow." Yu Xing stood behind her, speechless at her words. To say that the person who protects her should be herself, but here I also understand that this is only a formal word. There was a knock on the door. Yes, Sayori said that, indicating that the door can be opened. The person who opened the door was Chen Yi, who said to her, "Seiya just came back, I'll go right away." Sayori replied, "Is it finally here? This guy, I have been waiting for him for a long time." Yu Xing was looking forward to seeing Seiya in his heart, and he walked behind Sayori. In the outer hall, Seiya was already waiting with Pegasus's cloak box on his back. "Seiya, thank you for your hard work." Hearing the voice, Seiya turned his head. Although he hadn't seen him in 6 years, he was very familiar with the girl in front of him, and there were bad memories in it. "Please put down your holy clothes and give your body a good rest for tomorrow's battle." Sayori's tone was completely concerned, not harsh. "Fighting." However, Seiya did not understand. "Morning, haven't you explained yet?" Sayori questioned, causing Chen Ji's face to sweat profusely. "Yes, because I'm coming to contact Miss soon." "That's fine with excuses." "I see. Actually, from today, the biggest fighting battle in the history of the Ten Saints, Seiya, the Galactic War begins, and Seiya's opponent in the first round is the Ursa Major. Seiya, I really hope you can participate in this competition. I believe you will have an excellent battle. This is not an order, but an invitation." Sayori spoke in a completely submissive tone. To be precise, her personality has already become very gentle, at least when others hear it, she will not be so angry. Even so, Seiya smiled coldly. "Hey, I'm sorry." In tone, very disrespectful. Sayori and Chen looked at each other. "Didn't you hear that? I wouldn't take part in that kind of battle." Looking away, Seiya's expression was impatient. "You bastard, you actually treated the lady." Chen couldn't take it anymore and went up to teach him a lesson, but was pulled down by Seiya. "I'm not here to find Miss, let me see Shirato Koze. Grandpa died 5 years ago, what did you say?" Hearing this, Seiya was shocked by the blue sky, and his body was shaking. "The year after you went to Greece, suddenly," Sayori said, a little sad. "Really? Dead? Well, it's because we kids have a of a life." Seiya didn't regret his death, but used the tone of "damn," obviously he hated Shirato Koze. "Hey, keep your mouth clean." Chen already couldn't pretend he didn't hear it, and scolded him. Seiya raised his hand and blocked him. "Then, let your granddaughter fulfill the promise." Seiya looked at Sayori seriously. "Agreement. That's right, your grandfather took apart our siblings who were orphans, and forced me to go to Greece. As long as I bring the holy clothes back, let me see my sister." "That's right, Grandpa," he made such a promise only Sayori knows the painstaking efforts of Shirato Koze. "I've already brought the holy clothes, so, hurry up and let me see my sister." Seiya's impatience has been endured to the extreme, and he almost shouted out. "Hey, Seiya! You are so rude, pay attention to your tone. I can understand how you feel, but calm down." A voice came from behind the door, and it opened. "What?" Seiya looked towards the past, and the boy in the black butler costume walked to Sayori's side. "Miss is asking you to participate in the competition, you can't be so rude, just talk back." "You are. You forgot, we know each other, do you still remember me?" Yuxing stared at Seiya, his eyes revealed a very strong sense of oppression, and this feeling was indeed familiar to Seiya. He looked at Yu Xing for about 10 seconds, and suddenly his mind shook. "Ah, you are!" shouted in a very shocked voice. "Looks like you remembered. Is it UCI?" "Yes, long time no see, Seiya." Yuxing also showed a friendly look towards Seiya. In fact, it was not the first time they met. "Yu Xing, Do you know each other? Sayori looked at him and asked. You know, this kid fell into the water during training a year ago and was swept away by the current. I happened to walk by and rescue him. Thinking of that time, Yusing wanted to laugh. Why are you here? Seiya was surprised and asked what he was confused about. You're serving as Sayori-san's bodyguard. Guard. We'll talk to you about this later, let's get down to business first. He was so excited that he forgot what happened before. Seiya, I have already investigated the matter about your sister. Although it took a lot of effort, I finally brought her back. Bring it back? What's going on here? Seiya didn't understand what he meant. A few months ago, I asked the lady about your sister, but she didn't know very well. She only knew that she disappeared from the orphanage where you were on the day you went to Greece. This is not Yuxing telling lies, but actually asking. You, what did you say? From that Star Academy. Hearing that his sister was gone, Seiya was too shocked to speak, and remembered the scene of separation at that time, and his grief suddenly surged up. Don't worry, I have found it, your sister is unscathed. Closing his eyes, Yusing smiled slightly. What about my sister? Seiya asked hurriedly. Speaking of which, this is also extremely sad, Seiya. Before I found it, your older sister was actually living near you. What? Seiya didn't understand what Yuxing said. That's right, after you left Japan for Greece, your sister went there alone to find you too. What did you say? This shocked Seiya. Your sister went to the sanctuary in order to find you. But because ordinary people can't step there, she climbed the mountain fortress. In the past, but accidentally fell off the cliff. At that time, the villagers who lived nearby saw her and brought her back to the village, but after the injury, she lost all memory, and only knew that her name was Xinghua, and everything else. Xinghua, this is the name of Sister Seiya. Sister, she, lost her memory. Seiya rushed towards Yusei and shouted. When I found her, she still couldn't remember anything. She lived in a village near the sanctuary for 6 years. After I found her a month ago, I recovered her memory and brought her back to Japan. Because I know, you will definitely come back and find your sister. Yusing did not find it with the intelligence network, but based on his memory. After all, he is a traverser. For Seiya, his sister was very close and didn't know it, which made him very sad. Then let my sister come out, I want to see her. Yusei and Sayori understand Seiya's feelings. After all, for orphans, family is more important than anything else. Morning, bring Seiya's sister out. You don't order me. Chen has already seen Yusing's aloof appearance, very angry. Like Xiaowu, I hate him very much. It was mainly because Sayori was very kind to him, and all the things in life were left to Yusei, which made him angry. To Chen Ji, Yusing's arrival seemed to rob him of the responsibility of taking care of the young lady, so how could he have a good impression on him? Morning Sayori's voice became a little cold, making him horrified. Miss, do as Yusei says. Yes, it is. Although it was unpleasant, Chen had to accept it. Damn, since this kid came, the young lady listens to him in everything, so I don't care about my position? For the time being, I have also served in the city household for many years, and the young lady is far more kind to him than me, generally speaking, I would think so, and Chen has left angrily alone. Yusing expressed a wry smile. After a long time, Chen Ji hurried back. Miss, Seiya's sister is not here. What happened? She should be in the castle mansion. I heard from the maid that she goes to the old orphanage every day, so she should be there now. Because Yusing brought her back before, but she didn't have the freedom to restrain her, she could go out for a walk. For Xinghua, the orphanage was the place where she had her memories. In Star Academy. After Seiya heard this, he was relieved of the cloak box and turned around and ran away. Hey, wait! Chen has called him. Forget it, it's better to let him choose than to force him to play. Sayori said very calmly that he did not force Seiya to participate in the competition, he did as he wanted. If it was before, probably not so. UCI told her that you can't use power and status to order or coerce to make others love her, and Sayori did it. This is what makes UCI happy. Seiya went to the old orphanage and saw his sister. The two were so moved that they cried and hugged each other. Their long-cherished wish finally came true. Because there are so many things to say, it took almost a day to talk about it. Apart from seeing his sister, Seiya also met Miho, a childhood sweetheart at the orphanage, and it was only at dusk that he returned to the castle mansion. I will participate in this competition. This is what Seiya said to Uci and Sayori after he arrived. Now it is the office of the president of the Gerudo Consortium, and Seiya said this to the two of them from the front. Have you made up your mind? Seiya. It wasn't Uci who asked, but Sayori. Personally, I hope you can participate, but the agreement with my grandfather is ahead, so the choice is yours. Seiya closed his eyes and thought for a while, then continued, I've heard everything from my sister, and what you said is the truth. To be honest, I originally thought that after finding my sister, as long as I could live quietly with her, my sister advised me to continue fighting as a saint. Then what is your answer? This time, it's Yuxing. If I hadn't promised, I wouldn't be here now, not to mention that you helped me find my sister, and I have to pay it back. If participating in the competition is the condition you offered, I will be happy to accept it. Seiya spoke to Sayori in a friendly manner, as if it were a different person. Maybe he heard about Sayori from Xinghua and changed his mind about her. As for Uci, I only met him for less than a day before, but Seiya has long regarded him as a good friend, so it goes without saying now. In the game that night, it unfolded exactly the same as in the original work, and Seiya won. In the middle of the journey, he got into quite a hard fight, but he didn't let Uci down. It seems that it is better to give some suggestions for the next game. Uci, who was planning to help Seiya in his heart, showed a wicked smile. For Yuxing, this competition is completely meaningless. Since he knows that the enemy is a sanctuary, there is no need to hold it. It seems to Sayori too, but she can't let her grandfather's dream come true. Now Sayori also has the intention of suspending the meeting at any time, but that is after the person who is in the way Uci said appeared. Most importantly, Sayori wanted to prove whether Uci's words were true. If all this is as he predicted, then the next step must be taken with a risk. On the night of the next day, it was almost time for the match. Sayori sat on a chair on the porch at home, with the table in front of him. He picked up the cup and took a sip of tea. Grandpa, everything went well. That being said, what Yuxing once said was also something she was worried about. At this time, the morning has come with something. Miss. What's up? Newspapers from all over the world have just been delivered, and every country is writing about the galactic war. Then he took the newspaper over, but Sayori didn't pick it up and opened it. She has no interest in reporting on this. Compared to this incident, have Phoenix and Shiratori not arrived yet? It's the only thing she cares about now. Well, I haven't been able to get in touch with Phoenix yet, and Shiratori has to slow down. Chen has answered her in this way. Sayori stood up. Really? Anyway, let them come as soon as possible. If you don't gather all 10 Saint Seiyas, the elimination battle will become more boring. Yes. After saying that, the morning has left. If possible, Sayori would also like the contest to fully progress, but facing the sky, thinking about their affairs. Phoenix, Shiratori, but, ma'am. Maybe things won't go so smoothly. A figure walked over from the room, not to mention her guardian. Yuxing. There is no problem with Shiratori, the problem is the man in Phoenix. What's wrong with him? Originally, I didn't want to talk about this for the time being, but even if Phoenix comes back this time, it won't participate in the competition. Sayori sensed the importance of what Usui said, and she continued to ask with a tense face. Why is that? The Dead Queen's Island where Phoenix goes, I went there once before I knew you. Yusui's expression became very serious as if he remembered something unpleasant. Yusui, have you been to Death Queen Island? Yes, it's like hell. That island in the equatorial South Pacific, the surface is scorching like fire, and the fire rains all year round, just like of flames. These Sayori all know that Usui has not cut to the heart of the problem. It was dominated by that force long before the Phoenix constellation went, and now he is the incarnation of burning the small universe with hatred. That's right, even if he comes back now, he has changed into another person. Are you telling the truth? Sayori covered her mouth in shock. Phoenix will come back, but not to participate in the competition. On the contrary, he will the golden holy clothes. He also carries the shameless Dark Saint Seiya. Dark Saint Seiya. Sayori was familiar with the name, and her expression completely changed. Death Queen Island has been dominated by the Dark Saints, and now the Phoenix is their leader. In addition to the Golden Saint cloth, he will kill the Bronze Saints to realize his ambitions this time. Usui said this, but there was a sneer on his face, and it was always just a child's farce to him. If what you said, Usui, is true, it will turn into something terrible. It would be a lie to say that you are not worried, and the situation is so serious. Furthermore, the words of Phoenix have already come to this venue. Usui's words gave Sayori a strong impact. He was watching secretly in the venue. If my expectations are correct, he should appear in 2 or 3 days. As he spoke, he closed his eyes, ignoring Sayori's surprise. Then make preparations quickly, so that he can't steal the golden cloak. I've already made the layout, and now I'm waiting for that guy to appear. Please don't worry, I will fulfill all your wishes for you. It doesn't matter who the enemy is. It's not a determination, it's a determination. This is Usui's unrepentant sincerity towards Sayori. Eastern Siberia is the abbreviation for the Russian Economic Zone. It starts from the Arctic Ocean in the north, borders China and Mongolia in the south, West Siberia in the west, and the Far East Economic Zone in the east. Including Krasnoyarsk Territory, Irkutsk, and Chita Oblast, Buryatia Autonomous Republic. It covers an area of 4.1228 million square kilometers and has a population of about 8.769 million. The mixed-race Japanese-Russian boy who grew up in the ice field has lived for several years in this snow-covered country. There are ice walls everywhere. Characterized by thick yellow hair and blue eyes, the teenager is always silent. Although it looks cold at first glance, he is very gentle inside, and his love for his mother hides his fierce fighting spirit as a saint. Yes, he is Glacier. Now it has penetrated the ice wall on the ground and dived into the depths of the sea. His mother died many years ago when the ship sank to the bottom of the sea. In order to penetrate the hard ice wall and dive into the water to see her mother's body, he learned the power of the Saint Seiya. Not for anything else, but to be able to see my mother. Although it is pure, it is stupid to use the power of Saint Seiya indiscriminately. He himself is not aware of this, and he does not need to care about it. After he gained the power of a saint, he would penetrate the ice wall and dive into the sea to see her mother almost every day. Even if she can dive below and have the ability to fish her body up, Glacier still intends to let her mother sleep peacefully in the sea. Because the body in the ice water can keep the state before death. Yes, only on the bottom of the sea in Siberia can his mother stay young and beautiful forever, forever. In winter, the nearby sea freezes into meters of ice, so the glacier breaks the ice and dives to the bottom of the sea to visit the mother who is sleeping here. If ordinary people fell into the sea here, they would die in 15 minutes, but the glaciers could last for an hour. After seeing her mother, she also bid farewell to her to fight in Japan. After leaving the bottom of the sea, he did not know that this side was the last time he saw it. The glacier returned to the ice sheet, now gasping for breath due to the prolonged breathlessness. Followed to the permanent ice wall, smashed it, and the white bird constellation cloth appeared. Glacier wears it and is now officially a bronze saint. Seiya, I know the battle between you and Seiya, and I want to defeat you no matter what, wearing this ice clothes. Glacier, who made up his mind, the one who wanted to fight the most was Seiya. Here at the Gerudo Arena in Japan, the Saint Seiya's Super Fighting Tournament Galaxy War has entered its third day, and the stage, as seen, has been filled with audiences from all over the world. And this rally will be broadcast live by satellite to countries around the world. It is simply a miracle world competition, the largest battle in history. The third game is the battle between Shiratori and Sea Serpent. Because Shiratori has not yet arrived, the audience has already complained, and they can't wait to see the battle. After Seiya and others stepped down, even the Saint Seiya himself was very dissatisfied. I'm too scared to come. The one who spoke was Seiya of the Unicorn Seat. Among the current bronzes, he was probably the most arrogant one. But there is no way, Shiratori is not a Japanese boy. This caught Seiya's attention. What? Why don't you know? Seiya turned to look at him. It's the guy who is half Russian. Does the Saint Seiya of Shiratori mean Glacier? He was the only one among the 100 orphans, Seiya still remembered, so his voice was a little surprised. Yes, long time no see. Seiya. A figure ran up and jumped into the ring, wearing a white bird-shaped holy garment. It was Glacier. I came from the distant land of ice to fetch the golden robe. Saying that is to win, and saying that to others is obviously provocative. No, he was just provocative. You're late, coward. Don't take it lightly. Is it an evil martial arts? Then it doesn't matter if you are your opponent now. What did you say? He completely ignored him, and his tone was a little tough, which made Seiya very unhappy. The arrival of the white bird will soon be a match with the sea serpent. Glacier's opponent is Ichi, a person with a nihilistic character who will always say victory or defeat is always determined by the face. Mohawk had a dry head, and the vision with black eyes looked very comical. Appearance can be described as ugly. You seeing, who do you think will win? On the stage, Sayori, who was sitting in a chair, asked Uci that. Needless to say, the auras of these two people are fundamentally different. Glacier's strength is far superior to the other, and the game has not yet started. The outcome is already divided. Yu Xing didn't say a word that would hold Binghe back. His eyesight was never wrong, even if he didn't rely on the fact that he was a traverser. The lights under the stage were on, but it was a very boring battle. Glacier started to release water and let the city attack, and it was still fine even after eating a few of his fangs. Although the city was shocked, the freezing air emitted by the glacier could not even penetrate the snake venom, and it was all frozen before that. Your fangs didn't touch my body at all, and they were all blocked by this ice cloth of Shiratori. Glacier's imposing words made the city keep retreating. The white bird saint cloth began in the Quaternary Red accumulation era. That is to say, the ice cloth was born in the permanent ice wall that has not melted once until the Great Ice Age about 1,000,000 years ago. Shiro Torii, what a terrible man! Seiya under the stage said so. Ice cloth. Seiya also echoed. No amount of fangs can penetrate it, let alone destroy it, even with the power of a Saint Seiya. The city looked around, the scene was too amazing. What is this? I see large snow crystals around the glacier. Is this an illusion? Or? She, who was surprised and terrified, kept sweating. Humph, think about it after you get to that world, sea serpent. Glacier posed, a diamond-like light gathered in his right fist. Followed by a punch, diamond dust. Diamond star. The snowflakes filled the sky, and an amazing air conditioning approached the city of Sea Serpent. He completely froze his holy clothes and fell to the ground. Victory and defeat. Sea Serpent was injured, and Shiratori was qualified to enter the second round. Glacier saw his mother sleeping on the seabed of Siberia. "Mom, the battle will be over soon. Although it's lonely, please wait for me, Mom. Because I used to meet once a day, naturally there is no way to do it during the competition, and I will have such a mentality to some extent." Diamond dust, what a terrible punch. Seeing such power in Binghe's fist, Seiya was also surprised in his heart. Binghe walked off the stage and looked at him. "According to the elimination table, the next one to be defeated by me is Seiya you? Or is it the holy fighter Zilong of the Draco constellation?" The long-haired boy in the green dragon-shaped holy garment turned his back to them, but he could clearly see a sneer on his mouth. Before the game started, sparks had already erupted between them. "As you said," Uci Sayori stood up on the stage and said this to Uci. She didn't go to see it, and she didn't think it was necessary. "What is this level?" Uci wanted to say that, but he still didn't say it. "The Battle of the Bronze Saint is just a child's farce for me." "That's right. Although you are the same age as them, you are far away in a world different from theirs. In terms of their potential abilities, their future growth is also unlimited. One day they will be equal to mine." Although Yu Xing said this, he also knew that it would take many years to get his help. That night, Uci went to see Seiya alone. The agreed place was on the beach near his house. "Is something wrong with me?" Uci still wearing grey trousers and a short-sleeved red shirt, Seiya walked over. They had only known each other for less than a day before, but somehow they became friendly. "It's about tomorrow's match between you and Zilong. Let me give you some advice and train you by the way." Yu Xing wore the black shorts and white t-shirt that Japanese often wear, which was very different from the housekeeper suit he used to wear, which made him look more like a teenager. He turned his back at first, and after Seiya spoke, he turned back. "You said give me advice? And training?" "That's right, it's very important. Otherwise, not only will you be in a tough fight tomorrow, but you'll have half your life left. This is my advice to you as a friend." Seiya knew that Uci's next words might be very important, which could be seen from his face, and he had unknowingly stabilized his posture. He knew that Yuxing had the power of a Saint Seiya, but to what extent it was unclear. There is no doubt about it. "Seiya, you should have heard the story of Spear and Shield." "What?" Uci suddenly said that, and Seiya was stunned. "There is a story in China since ancient times. There was a merchant who sold spears and shields. He said that the shield he sold was that no spear could pierce it. And the spear he sold would be pierced no matter what kind of shield it was. Of course I know that. In fact, he heard what his master Mo Ling said. But what are you talking about? Your opponent tomorrow, Zilong, has such a weapon. The dragon throne he possesses has the strongest fist and the strongest shield. Now that you are confronted with him hidden, even if you can turn defeat into victory in the end, you will be very vulnerable. Serious trauma, you said Zilong he. Seiya couldn't believe it. I want to help you because I'm your friend. You have to complete the next training so that your fight with Zilong tomorrow will be more interesting. Uci felt very excited at the thought of being able to train Seiya thoroughly in the future. Then, let's begin. Yu Xing's expression changed all of a sudden. It was so serious that it was terrifying, and it was completely different from the previous feeling. This unspeakable terror is an overwhelming force that has never been felt before. Seiya's heart was shocked, and his nerves suddenly became frozen from a fiery state. Yu Xing's eyes flashed a little light. Then, for nearly an hour, there was a terrifying cry on the beach in this deserted night. After Yu Xing turned around, he walked alone. This is the end of the day, let's get some sleep. Looking at Seiya, who was exhausted and collapsed on the beach, his eyes seemed to lose focus, and all the colors were gone. Uci, who left here, walked back towards the castle mansion. It seems that it is too early. If you want to train them well, you must start from the basics. Only when the foundation is solid, it will be more convenient later. Uci closed his eyes as if talking to himself. Thinking that there is still a long way to go, I also need to be patient. Then came the third day of the game. The audience had been queuing up since the morning, and today Sayori came to the arena earlier than usual, and of course, Uci was also in her car. The people who came to greet him were the members of the Gerudo Consortium and the Unicorn Evil Warrior. Uci finally understood that this kid's flattering skills were first-rate. However, he is not a stingy person, and he doesn't care about these unnecessary things at all. Zhuo came to open the car door, Sayori walked down, and Yuxing walked out from the right door. Follow Sayori into the venue. Since he became Sayori's guardian, he has been erasing his own little universe without being noticed by others. Even if the Saint Seiya himself saw him, he would feel the same as ordinary people. Therefore, that guy Xiaowu would be so stupid to challenge him. As a result, he was killed in a second and even lost his face. Uci thought that he would never dare to appear in front of Sayori again, after all, he was so ugly. Well, the human heart is unpredictable, he finally understood that now. Sayori is currently wearing white with a pink dress underneath. By the way, since Uci came, he has been stealing Chen's qualification to serve Sayori. Like he was sitting in the front seat in the car just now, Uci was sitting next to Sayori. Uci wondered if he was a man who was hated by others? But immediately get the idea out of his head, he doesn't want to do it himself. Besides, even though Xiaowu didn't know Keichenji, he still knew Uci's purpose to be a bodyguard by Sayori's side, and based on this, he didn't care so much about him. However, if he was always stealing the limelight, even he couldn't bear it. Uci was aware of Chenji's mood, but he didn't say anything to this person at all. And, to be honest, he didn't like Chenji. This person is self-righteous, and Seiya, who once orphaned, beat and scolded them since childhood, and even when they came back as Saint Seiyas, they looked down on them very much. He was just the housekeeper of the city household, and it felt too unreasonable. Anyway, ignoring, this is Uci. He has always maintained this attitude towards guys that have nothing to do with his purpose. He's not a saint and won't be nice to everyone. In his heart, the most important person is of course Sayori. The second is Seiya and the others, and it is also his sincerity that he wants to make friends with them. Uci is not cold-blooded and ruthless, it is better to say that he is a man who attaches great importance to friendship. For people who don't know him very well, it's usually just that he maintains a grim expression. By evening, the audience was full. On the arena in the field, Seiya and Zilong were already wearing holy clothes and waiting for the start of the game. Speaking of Zilong, his appearance is quiet and very slender, tall, with black hair that grows near his waist, and his eyes look very sharp. He is also obviously muscular, almost the same as Uci in both height and size. For Uci, Zilong has an honest and hard-working personality, with a thoughtful personality. Later, it was said to have obtained the existence as a model of Saint Seiya. He believes in justice and has a very solid character of righteousness. Even if he sacrifices his life for the sake of his friends, he will not hesitate. Moreover, he has a knowledgeable side and a good mind, and many of his companions serve as combat staff. All in all, Zilong is a real man. Yuxing is very optimistic about a character. Even he is looking forward to what the battle between him and Seiya will turn into with his little intervention. Like this. Uci. Sayori sat on the chair, looked at the faint smile on Uci's face, and asked curiously. What's the matter? Miss Uci replied awkwardly, feeling like this has happened before? The game is about to start, what are you thinking? Unlike the previous game, Uci showed a serious expression. At first, he thought the bronze battle was boring, but now he is showing interest. Although they have known each other for less than a year, they already know each other well. Sayori now knows her own identity, and she also knows how to be kind to the bronze saints like Seiya. But on top of that, she is more dependent on Yuxing. I'm thinking about the outcome of Seiya and Shiryu. Yeah, so who do you think will win? Sayori watched with curious eyes, earnestly waiting for Yuxi's answer. That's right, in general, they are comparable. However, Seiya's fist is too orthodox to attack, and Zilong's holy robe is his decisive nemesis. If there is no other means, I am afraid that even Seiya will be able to do it. Get beaten to death. You think Seiya will lose? No, Seiya will win. Yuxi, who suddenly changed the atmosphere, looked at Seiya in the arena, his eyes fixed on him. If the method I taught him last night can be used smoothly, there is a good chance of winning. In the end, Yuxing still prefers Seiya, and he will do it to stand on Seiya's side. Sayori smiled, thinking that he really took good care of his friends. On the field, the two immediately launched an offensive and defensive battle shortly after the start of the game. Seiya kicked him first, but was dodged by Zilong by flipping forward. Seiya chased after him and punched twice, but Zilong avoided it, and Zilong hit Seiya with a backhand. However, Seiya, who jumped and flashed, kicked Shiryu with his foot in the air. Unable to dodge, he blocked it with the shield on his left hand. After Seiya landed, he calmly watched Zilong's movements. My body is lighter than I imagined. As long as I stay calm, my mood can go back to the way I did last night. Seiya thought so in his heart, and the corner of his mouth curled into a smile. Zilong gathered all his strength and charged towards him. First, watching Seiya's movements, he approached with minimal steps, and then he waved his fist. Zilong's right hand has the power of the strongest fist. Looking at Zilong's actions, Seiya's eyes widened, remembering what Yuxing had said last night. When his punch came, Seiya had already waved his hands lightly, took a step with his left foot, and stepped back with his right foot. His body turned to one side, his hands on his waving right hand. He turned his right foot and pushed Zilong's right fist away at the same time, causing his body to involuntarily be shifted to the right direction. What? The strength of the punch he threw was dissolved in an instant, and on the contrary, he was taken out, and Zilong's right fist hit the ground of the ring. Bang! A hole was punched. What's going on here? The bronzes watching from the audience were completely surprised by Seiya's bizarre trick. I don't know. But Seiya must have done something just now, or used a very special method. This is the Ice River, and he calmly analyzed the stunt Seiya showed in an instant. Zilong, I'm very taboo with your dragon's right fist, you won't be hit so easily. Seiya looked at Zilong, who was kneeling on the ground, and pulled his right hand from the ground of the ring. Although he was surprised that he avoided it, Zilong stood up immediately, not in a hurry or losing his composure at all. Suddenly, his eyes fixed on a familiar figure. Purple Dragon. A girl's voice sounded, which he knew. Chun-Li. Looking in the direction from which the voice came, a black-haired girl in a winered Chinese dress with pigtails was looking at him with worried eyes. Purple Dragon, the girl spoke softly. Chun-Li? Why is Chun-Li here? Even if he has doubts in his heart, he doesn't understand why. The girl named Chun-Li ran over, Zilong looked at her and walked in. Not out of the ring, just close to the side of the rope. Being distracted in the battle was originally fatal, and the battle of the Saint Seiya can be decided in an instant. But Seiya did not attack at this time, and he felt that it was not very honorable. Chun-Li, why are you here? The teacher is sick, the girl named Chun-Li replied, and Zilong was struck by lightning. What? Teacher? Thinking of all the practices he had cultivated beside his teacher in the past, a wave of sadness surged up. My great teacher, okay, Chun-Li, I'll go right away. Zilong couldn't wait to leave now. He seemed to ignore Seiya a bit when he said this, and looked at him behind him. Chun-Li, wait a moment. Just a few seconds. Turning to look at Chun-Li, even Seiya frowned at Zilong's unexpected words. Okay? Did you make a promise like that? Seiya felt that Zilong was underestimating him. Humph, don't worry, you won't be able to stand up with the next blow. What? Because this is the biggest mystery of the dragon zodiac that was taught to me by the teacher of China's Wu Lao Feng, the biggest mystery of the dragon constellation. Squinting his eyes, Seiya looked at each other seriously. Zilong waved his hand, as if a giant dragon slipped past him and flew straight into the sky. Lushan Chen Glongba, Zilong shouted and punched Seiya under the forehead. Wow! Seiya flew up, as if being bitten by a dragon, and then fell down, blood flowing. The audience cried out in shock. What a trick this is! Under the stage, the young girl wearing a pink holy robe opened her eyes wide in shock, looking at Zilong's unprecedented punch, startled. Even Seiya Wu and the boy in the green holy robe next to him did the same. Zilong walked to the edge of the ring and stopped looking at Seiya. Then Chun-Li, let's go. Think you've won like this? Zilong, not yet. Chun-Li pointed forward, which surprised Zilong, and Seiya stood up as if unharmed. Impossible, you can still stand up under the frontal attack of the Shang Glongba. Is this guy immortal? The most shocked must be Zilong, who thought he could win immediately. I also have a reason why I can't be easily defeated, said Seiya, who stood up. The 13 stars of Pegasus were carved with both hands, and the small universe poured out of the whole body, making Zilong have to beware. Zilong, you should try Pegasus Meteor Fist too. Seiya rushed up. Pegasus Meteor Fist. With the punch, the sonic meteor light flew away. Zilong blocked all the shields on his left hand, and Seiya's meteor fists all hit his shield, and they were all blocked by him, and the shield was not broken. More than 100 punches, but not even a crack? That shield is indeed like what UCI said. I was warned by UCI last night, and now Seiya, who has seen it with his own eyes, has no choice but to be shocked. Is that so? Is that the rumored hardest dragon shield? In front of that shield, Seiya is definitely going to be defeated. The Saint Seiya in the audience explained in an objective tone. Seiya followed and swung the meteor fist again, but was still blocked by the shield. Now he has completely believed it. Don't you understand? Seiya, the shield on my left wrist is different from the other holy clothes. The place where I was sent to become a saint is the Wulao Peak of Mount Lu in China, known as the Legend of the Dragon God. The great waterfall on the peak is said to have been formed by stardust from the ancient Milky Way falling from the sky into this earth. Far below the great waterfall, the holy garment of the Draco constellation sleeps. It is known as the incarnation of the dragon. It has continuously penetrated into the water of the galaxy for a long time, and has a brilliance and strength that surpasses that of diamonds. Do you understand? Seiya, to defeat my purple dragon, first of all, we can only smash this shield and nothing else. Zilong is full of confidence in the power of the holy garment. But, Zilong, it's not like there's no way to deal with your shield. I've heard that Draco is a holy garment with the strongest shield and the strongest fist. Seiya only heard that from UCI last night. His expression is a little smiling now, and he obviously has the means to deal with it. Could it be, the right fist of the dragon constellation is also the strongest fist? Seiya Wu in the audience changed his face when he heard Seiya's words. It's like that the other person also defaulted. Wait and see, Zilong. I will destroy your strongest too in an instant. Seiya suddenly spoke up. What? Zilong's eyes widened, wondering if this guy is serious. Impossible, does that guy want to die? There is no chance of winning against the strongest fist and shield. Seiya Wu thinks that Seiya is completely beyond his own power. Of course, he can only see this in his eyes. No, there is another way. Glacier, standing behind them, suddenly spoke. What? The three of them turned to look at him, startled. It seems that Seiya has already known about the purple dragon saint cloth from the very beginning, in other words, he already had a plan to deal with it. Binghe's words were completely right, Seiya really gave people this feeling, so that all three's eyes moved back to the ring. It's coming, Zilong. Come on, Seiya. Seiya rushed forward, facing the power of Zilong's right fist, he didn't care at all. Rather, that's the key. Those present only saw Seiya throwing his right fist and Zilong resisting the scene with his shield. The next instant, when they noticed it, Zilong's fist and shield were shattered. But the strange thing is that Seiya has nothing to do, and he is still uninjured. There was a loud noise in the arena, and they had no idea what was going on. At this time, the crystal screen in the stadium will replay what happened just now. Seeing that Seiya's fist was blocked by Zilong's shield, Zilong backhanded his right fist and hit Seiya's body. Seiya stepped back and drew a circle with his left hand. When Zilong's punch came, he caught it in a strange way. Following Zilong's hand, he did not obey his orders and changed direction without authorization. This is the same as the situation at the beginning of the game. Seiya still uses that method. While holding Zilong's fist, he gently turns and pushes out. As if using strength to fight, he easily removed his hand. As a result, Zilong's right fist hit his shield, and both were shattered. That's right, it's like a Chinese spear and shield story. The strongest shield that no spear can pierce, the strongest spear that can be pierced by any shield. What will happen if the two strongest collide with each other? The answer is this. However, Seiya's method is rather strange. Because this is a kind of Chinese martial arts, as a Japanese, Seiya, whose training place is still in Greece, should not know this method. Zilong had already seen that he had heard it before, but none of the people present understood it. No, except for one person. Is that the secret strategy you taught Seiya? On the stage, Sayori, who was watching, suddenly asked Uci that. I didn't improve his strength, I just set a little example for him. Whether he can learn or not depends on his own talent. After all, he only has 1 hour. If he can't do it, it's over. Although Yu Xing said that, his face was obviously very happy. But Seiya didn't do it. Sayori was thinking that your hard work was not in vain after all. In my opinion, it's still far from enough, but I can't say anything with only 1 hour. Seiya's technique of leveraging strength can only be used in this form, and a stronger opponent is probably it doesn't work the second time. To Yuxing, the talent that Seiya has shown has already made him very agree with him. As long as he slowly cultivates it, he will be able to form a fairly good combat power before attacking the sanctuary. He thinks so. The battle in the arena continued, and Zilong said to Chunli, it will take longer. Then, he discarded all the holy clothes on his body except for the feet, and the upper body became naked. It's beautiful, Seiya. I didn't expect you to be able to do this. To be honest, I'm really surprised. As I said before, there's a reason why you can't lose. Seiya stood opposite him. Now that both the fist and the shield have been smashed, the holy clothes are useless to me. Seiya, at least I will use this living body to bury you in the end. The burial mentioned here is just a rhetorical device, not really to kill the other party, but to defeat the other party's words. Okay, if you wear the holy clothes like this, you will win, and it will be no fun after that. Seiya also discarded all the holy clothes on his body. This way the two sides are equal. Seeing this scene, everyone present and the Saint Seiya felt too stupid. Seiya, Zilong. The boy in the pink holy robe was the first to run up to dissuade him. The holy garment is to protect one's body, that is, the armor. If you take it off, it's like jumping into the fire naked. Although the attack power of a saint is superhuman, the body is only human. With such superhuman destruction if you fight with your naked body, don't worry about it, shun. The only fate left for the two of them is death. In the back, Seiya Wu advised him not to do more meaningless things. The young man named Shun had no choice but to give up, since this was not something he could intervene in. It is up to them to listen to persuasion or not. Seiya and Zilong still did not stop. This fighting spirit is surprising. But, why did the two of them get to this point? And Bing He, who didn't understand the reason the most, thought so in his heart. Because this is just a competition, not a battle with lives on the line. Despite this, the fighting spirit of the two of them is still burning vigorously. Not for fame or anything. Because they are men. Uci, who was watching from the stage, answered Sayori's words like this. Sayori also had the same thoughts as the Saint Seiya and asked why. That's right, reputation and golden clothes are of no value to them. On the battlefield, it's happier than anything to meet an opponent who can risk everything to fight, even if you lose your life. It's like Japanese Bushido. Maybe it's too difficult to understand, for a daughter like Sayori. Seiya and Shiryu, who grew up in such an environment, have an unimaginable strength despite all the hardships they have suffered since they were orphans. That's not something ordinary people can experience. Yes, only warriors can. That's human too, the fate of beings like Saint Seiya. Yu Xing, who looked at him at the end, used moving words. Not for anything else, just because he understands that this spirit is very important and can cause his huge growth in the future. Sayori could only look at him like this, unable to say anything. The mood has been deeply affected by the behavior of Seiya and Zilong. She herself did not expect the game to progress like this, and even if there is no holy clothing, she will never give up the spirit of continuing to fight. Their awareness infected everyone. Seiya and Zilong have already started fighting again on the field, because the ascended microcosm made a dragon pattern appear on Zilong's back. It was a mark that was said to be possessed only by the chosen among the saints. They have already begun to fight, and the two of them are evenly divided in the mutual attack of fists and feet. Then, Seiya made the move first. The two attacks of Pegasus Meteor Fist caused Zilong, who thought he could see through all the fists, to be hit 3 times. Wow! Zilong knelt down on the ground, his face seemed to be shocked, nervous and fearful. The threat of Seiya's fist made him feel this way. There is no way to think like this. Seiya's meteor fist will become more perfect every time he swings, which even the Saint Seiyas who are watching are very surprised. In this case, there is no hesitation. Before the meteor fist is not complete, Zilong stood up and posed, but Seiya seemed to see through his thoughts, giving Zilong a considerable impact. Purple Dragon, okay? Swing Rising Dragon Master twice. What? Although Zilong was surprised, he didn't quite understand what he meant. Your dragon's right fist is unprepared, this time it will become a fatal wound. Then, Seiya's words strongly impacted Zilong's heart. This guy, only got it once, did you see through it? Zilong remembered the weakness of the Rising Dragon Master that his teacher once said before. When your fighting spirit fills your body, a rising dragon will appear behind you. That right fist, viewed from the front, is your heart. When you want to swing Shen Glongba, because you have to use the strength of your whole body, you will be unconscious, and your left fist will drop down in an instant. 1/100th, no, 1,000th of a second in time. At that time, your heart will be unprepared, there will be flaws, and that is your only shortcoming. At that time, his teacher told him so. If anyone could see through this flaw and attack there, he would undoubtedly die. That man is here. However, Seiya may not be able to aim at my flaws and attack, and before that, he will be given to the Shang Glongba. The posture of the two did not move, and the wonderful silence dominated the entire arena, and the tense atmosphere even affected all the audience. Both of them can do it. This is the last punch. Both Zhou and Binghe realized the importance of the future. Then, the final blow exploded. It's coming, Seiya. Zilong put on a unique pose. Lushan Chenglongba Zilong charged towards Seiya with a very strong momentum. Seiya concentrated on watching his movements, and when the two were about to approach, Zilong's left fist dropped. The two jumped up almost at the same time and shouted at each other. Zilong hit Seiya's left face, and then Seiya's right punch hit Zilong's heart. Victory and defeat. Seiya, who had watched the game from start to finish, had closed his eyes. The battle was a little different because of his relationship in the front, but after they gave up the holy clothes to fight, everything was the same. Zilong fell out of bounds, and Seiya was still standing on the ring. The convention has already declared Seiya the victory. And the fact that Zilong's heart stopped dying. The shocking news hit everyone, including the spectators, who were looking forward to watching this game, but definitely didn't like it happening. It will only become more disappointing. None of them hope that the Saint Seiya will have victims. The death of Zilong was passed on to Sayori. No, I'm not dead yet. If the saint just needs to hit back with the same punch in the opposite direction, Zilong's heart will beat again. Seiya told Sayori that. Then off stage, Chun-Li begs Seiya to save him. Because he wasn't injured this time, Seiya went over immediately, and he didn't want Zilong to die. After all, they were just competing with each other. As a result, Zilong was lifted up instantly, and Seiya threw a punch that hit the right fist with the dragon pattern behind Zilong, and Zilong miraculously resurrected. Although I know this ending, but what I saw with my own eyes, this scene is really moving. Seiya thought so from the heart. Without anyone noticing, Seiya looked towards the place where the golden holy clothes were placed, and a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Little chick, it's almost about to appear. Yuxing noticed it from the first day of the conference, but just pretended not to see it. The next day, because Seiya was not injured this time, he was not sent to the hospital, but Zilong and Chun-Li went to visit him at the Star Academy and mentioned important things to Seiya. I'm going back to Wulao Peak with Chun-Li today. Before that, I have something I want to tell you. Zilong looked at Seiya with a serious face, and what he said next was definitely not a joke or something. Chun-Li knew they had something to say and went to take care of the children with Miho. What do you care about? Seiya has absolutely no idea what Zilong cares about, but judging from his tone, it's probably a very important thing. After the battle, I felt as if someone was watching the movements of the 9 of us. What? Anyone in the arena? You mean that's the Phoenix? It was not difficult for Seiya to guess that the only person missing was Phoenix. Zilong shook his head. This is not clear, but be careful, this feeling is completely different from other saints. Maybe Andromeda's chains can hold the key. Then, when he said that he could know the only clue, Seiya became serious. Andromeda's chains? What is going on? Seiya doesn't know much about the sacred clothes of other constellations, and it's absolutely true that Zilong has a lot of knowledge. In the Guladu arena, today is the 5th game. For special reasons, the game time started around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The ceiling began to close, and a starry night appeared. Under the expectations of the audience and the cheering of the women, Shun ran down the stairs and jumped up. Andromeda. The holy clothes box placed on the stage was opened, and Andromeda seemed to be an elegant woman just like her name. The holy clothes were separated, and the armors were put on Shun's body, standing on the ring. Following Xia Wu, he jumped up. Unicorn. In the same way, the holy clothes box was opened, and the holy clothes were put on him, standing on the ring. The two looked at each other. It's very popular, Shun. It's better to be an actor than to be a saint. Seiya. Seeing the women screaming support for Shun, Xia Wu spoke in an indifferent tone of mockery. Xia Wu, don't you think this battle is strange? However, Shun's opening was completely off topic, something inexplicable. What are you talking about now? Are you timid before starting the battle? Seiya Wu is more deadhead, it is better to say arrogant, thinking that Shun is saying cowardly words. No, Seiya Wu. What are you fighting for? Is it to get the golden cloak? It doesn't matter to you, I just keep winning for the sake of that woman, I can't say such a thing. I was only surrounded by emptiness, and I only hope to see my brother come back okay before participating in the competition. It was like a dream. He said with some sadness. If you want to talk, get off the ring. Unaccustomed to such a moment, Seiya Wu arrogantly persuaded the other party to give up. But before he could answer, he jumped up and kicked, and was gently dodged by Shun. Miss, your former servant was quite interesting. UCI looked at the arena and spoke to Sayori who was sitting on a chair. You mean evil martial arts? Followers must be referring to Zou. Shun was a crybaby when he was a child, and he couldn't be confused at all. If you don't understand the difference in strength, you will rush forward and sooner or later you will smash yourself into pieces. Shun's strength is too different from his, and there is no need to compare this match. Even if Yu Xing didn't travel through it, they could only know from their hidden little universe. Seiya Wu will lose, do you want to say that? Sayori smiled at UCI, and all the victories from the start of the meeting were as he said. No, absolutely will lose. Yu Xing deliberately accentuated, thinking that if Seiya Wu didn't even know this, he was doomed to lose. In the field, Shun waved the chain, and circled around him one after another, just like a spider web. How beautiful is the Andromeda Nebula that also shines in the night sky! Is that the nebula chain? Glacier, who came to watch the game, said in surprise that next to him was Nachi. Zou, you won't be able to get close to me. If you want to enter this Andromeda Nebula, you must have the awareness of death. If you have that kind of awareness, you are welcome to come in at any time. It was as if he was provoking him, but in another sense he wanted the other party to surrender. What? Stop talking big. It seemed that the one around Seiya Wu couldn't stand this insult, so he rushed over and waved his fist. It's a pity that the opponent this time is not comparable to the previous Leo Cubs, and he was destined to suffer from the beginning without realizing this. Instantly waving the chain, the corner lock rushed towards him. Seiya Wu screamed, the corner lock penetrated his holy clothes, and he fell from above. The blow was basically the winner. What? The chains are literally alive. Lying on the ring face to face, Seiya Wu received an unimaginable impact. I won't say sorry, let's end this meaningless battle. If I didn't show mercy, you would have been killed by the blow just now. Shun was not malicious, because he could not feel arrogant aura from him. Be merciful, what a joke. Hearing the other party say this, Seiya Wu's face became serious, and he began to be annoyed. He stood up slowly and rushed again. Then I will kill you this time. But as a result, the chains flew away in an instant, the holy clothes were as vulnerable as tofu to be penetrated, and the screams of evil martial arts echoed throughout the arena. The conversation between Zilong and Seiya in Star Academy continues. Andromeda's chains have amazing defensive instincts. As long as it senses the enemy's movement, it will immediately respond and set up an iron wall of defense. Yes, the only one who can detect another man in the arena is Andromeda. Chains. Zilong's premonition made him feel this very well, and the maliciousness that appeared in the arena made him have to be vigilant. Enemy? How can you judge that guy is an enemy? It's a pity that Seiya doesn't have as keen insight as him. If that person is really the Phoenix, then it should be the enemy of the 9 of us. Because, you only want that guy to be the Phoenix. That guy? Yes, the man who should be dead. Zilong's tone changed, and his voice became excited. Could it be? It's the could it be? If that guy is a Phoenix, are you saying he came back from hell? Seiya also felt nervous about this situation. On the arena of the Guladu arena, Xiaowu had fallen to the ground, bleeding from his head, and his holy clothes were tattered, which made the audience feel that it was completely different from the previous match between Pegasus and Dragon. Now is the overwhelming dominance of Andromeda. Miss Xiaowu called Sayori so softly that no one could hear it. Damn, ask the other party to be merciful. How can I let Miss see this kind of tragic situation? Reluctantly stood up again, but leaned against the chains on the edge of the ring. Yu Xing, who was on the stage, stopped watching this unnecessary farce, and didn't even have the qualifications to let him watch it. He closed his eyes and stood beside Sayori. Almost about to start, not knowing what Yu Xi was thinking, Sayori kept looking at the arena of the arena. After finally thinking of breaking the chain of Shun, Xiaowu fell from the sky, but was hit hard, because the sky above this nebula is the strongest. Xiaowu's injury aggravated, and the holy clothes almost became waste and fell to the ground. At this moment, the chain started to move, and the words AXIY appeared. Instantly didn't know what it meant. Xiaowu took the opportunity to catch the chain, thinking that he had captured victory, but was electrocuted by the current of the chain and fell down. There should be a limit to stupidity, which may be the limit of ordinary bronze saints. Shun's chains were still moving, and his movements became faster. Glacier and Nachi ran to the stage to see the situation, and they also noticed the unusual this time. Shun, what is the chain trying to tell us? I don't know yet. Shun couldn't answer Binghe's question. The chains kept moving. The audience on the stage and the Saint Seiya didn't know the reason, and everyone was worried. The chain is moving by himself, not waving instantaneously, and the tense air permeates the entire arena. The chain then specified a direction. Don't be careless, there is an enemy in front of this chain. Shun's words made Binghe, Naji, and Zhou all look at them seriously, preparing for their postures. It's not just moving, it's the enemy of the 9 Saint Seiyas here. However, there are only things in this direction. When facing the glacier, Shun turned his gaze upwards. Could it be, at this time, Zilong and Seiya have also arrived? Purple Dragon Shun's chains are performing defensive instincts suddenly in the ring, what came to mind? By the way, the axia pointed out by the chain just now. In Greek, axia means something important, something of value. When it comes to something valuable in this direction, it must be golden cloth. Suddenly, the lights in the arena went out, and everyone was shocked. The golden holy clothes box was opened, and a figure appeared from behind wearing a holy garment, with a pair of glasses on his face, and took a few steps forward. Finally appeared Yuxing, looked there and said in an indifferent voice. Who is that? Could it be Yuxing? You said. Sayori asked what he had said before. Yuxing nodded in agreement. The lights in the arena turned on again, and the figure was clearly visible. It was a tall man wearing a phoenix-shaped holy garment. He wears goggles, can't see his eyes, can't judge his appearance. Who is that guy? Glacier said. Phoenix. Seiya replied. Is that guy the 10th warrior Phoenix? Except for Uci and Sayori, as well as Zilong and Seiya, everyone here looked relieved. No, there is one more. The tension in the chain has reached the highest point, this is the first time. What kind of man is that Phoenix? No, what I feel from him is hatred. It's just, the embodiment of hatred. The sense of oppression released from that person was conveyed to everyone. I can't believe it, I've never felt such hatred. That guy really came back from hell. Seiya and Zilong couldn't believe it at all. At this moment, the chain was out of control, and the round lock flew over. Shin, did you know? Phoenix's Iki Zilong's words hit him like a bomb. What? The chain flew up at this time and locked Phoenix's hand. What? What did you just say? Zilong. Shun, who thought he heard it wrong, asked again. I said the constellation Phoenix is Ikki. Instantly looked up. It's my brother. At this time, Phoenix ignited a small universe and threw a punch at Xiang Shun. With a cry, he knelt on the ground on one foot. Impossible, Ikki is right to Shun. So far away, I can hit Shun on the shoulder. What kind of punch shock wave is this? Seiya, Zilong, and Glacier were shocked. Shun didn't think that person would be his brother, tears were about to flow out, and Phoenix suddenly said, Shin, your tears still haven't changed. He picked up his glasses and revealed a familiar face. It was indeed his older brother Ikki, and he instantly became very excited. I've had enough of your crying face. Then the first one, Shun, let me hold a blood sacrifice for you. Ikki jumped up, Phoenix emerged from behind and kicked over. Instantly kicked by him, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. What the hell, what happened? Tell me, brother. Instantly got up and asked in pain. I have nothing to tell you, Ikki coldly refused. Then, Xia Wu, who intervened in the battle, was knocked down by Ikki for disturbing his game. He also told Sayori and Chen that he wanted to pay the debt. Nachi of Sirius was crushed by Ikki's fist and collapsed. The people at the convention didn't know that Ikki didn't come to participate in the competition, but was told by him instead. He said that he came this time to send the Bronze Saints to hell. Next is Seiya, Zilong, or Glacier. Otherwise, let's attack together with Shun and Four. He gave everyone a punch, and seeing that they came without even wearing the holy clothes, it would be disgraceful to defeat them, so Ikki stopped here. Ikki-sama, then leave this group of trash to us. Suddenly a voice spread throughout the arena. Everyone looked shocked when they saw a group of black phoenix saint cloths, even the audience. We are Ikki-sama's subordinates, Dark Saints. The bomb sounded again. Dark Saint Seiya. Seiya screamed in surprise. Dark Saint Seiya wearing a dark cloak, so it is not a rumor, Glacier was also thinking in his heart. Dark Saints, those guys used the fist of the Holy Warrior of Justice to realize their desires, and they carried out continuous killing in the world of Shura, and their existence even Athena abandoned them. Yes, they sold their souls to demons for their own desires. Indeed, Dark Saint Seiya, yes, it's the Dark Saint Seiya. Ikki suddenly burst out laughing. Really? Did my brother sell his soul to the devil? Before Shun could finish his words, the people here suddenly felt an unprecedented overwhelming force. What? This mighty little universe looks like it came from here. Zilong, Binghe, and Shun all turned to look behind, and at the exit where the players were supposed to appear, a figure gradually came. Even Ikki couldn't keep his calm face, and he was now dominated by shock and fear. This, what is this? What is this? This is the first time I feel such a powerful little universe, difficult. Could it be, as a warrior, even Ikki couldn't help but regard the approaching person as a threat. The black shadow radiated golden light, and then appeared in the arena under the light of the light. That person did have a handsome and unruly beautiful boy. Phoenix, do you know the price you have to pay for being an enemy of Sayori-san? The voice was a little cold. What? Ikki didn't understand what he said suddenly. Wandering star among them, only Seiya knew him. Remember that he seems to be Sayori-san's bodyguard. Instantly, he sighed in relief, as if admonishing himself. Why is such a person? There is such a powerful and terrifying little universe. Both Binghe and Zilong looked at him. In fact, it was not the first time they had met. Although Binghe had only met once, Zilong had already met several times. Although he hadn't spoken, he still remembered him. Saints are all fighting for justice. You have gone the wrong way. Today, in the name of Athena, I will punish you. The incomparably powerful little universe has shocked everyone here, and Yu Xing is still wearing a black dress. A boy of the same age as them walked over with his eyes closed. However, without wearing a holy garment, such a powerful little universe can be released, who is he? However, the worries of Glacier and Zilong are not unnecessary. Phoenix Ikki, you are here to capture the golden robe, right? However, I will not let you do so. As Seiya-san's bodyguard, anyone who tries to harm her or the Gerudo Consortium, whether it is anyone is fine, I'll rule them out. At this moment, Yu Xing emitted a powerful little universe, the golden light swayed, and a strong wind blew up, sucking the dark Saint Seiya standing next to the golden saint cloth. The audience only felt a strong wind, but nothing happened. This is only for people with a small universe. Seiya and the others stabilized their bodies and were surprised. Just standing here, it's like I'm going to be blown away. Even Seiya, who knew him, was the first to see Yu Xi's small universe. All the dark saints shouted and were taken down by the wind, and all fell on the ring. Ikki looked at him and asked, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" "It's to bury you dark saints and their leader." Of course the leader Yu Xi said was also Ikki. Because the behavior of the dark saint is too bad, there is no need to contaminate the existence on the ground. Therefore, I need to eliminate the guy who sneaked here. Yu Xi's words were naturally his sincerity, not necessarily because he wanted to protect Sayori or the golden cloth. He does have a disgust for the dark saint Seiya. Then just after he finished speaking, his figure suddenly disappeared, and everyone was shocked, but they didn't realize that he was already opposite Ikki. What happened just now? This guy, Zilong opened his mouth and looked up. With just a blink of an eye, he was already in the ring. What an amazing speed! Glacier gritted his teeth and his eyes flashed. The dark saint Seiya was swept together by his strong wind, and his body was completely immobile, sticking back to back. "Then, I'll give you a chance. I'll let you shoot first." As soon as he came up, Yuxing provoked Ikki and waved to him. Ikki gritted his teeth and took a step back, sweat dripping down his face. This guy's little universe is so powerful, if he doesn't attack, he will be knocked down. As if seeing through his thoughts, Yu Xing said coldly, "What's the matter, aren't you coming?" Ikki gritted his teeth, made a drink, and swung his right fist at him. Yu Xing snorted softly, closed his eyes, raised his right hand, and stretched out his index finger to block his right fist. "What?" Ikki opened his eyes. "No. Impossible. Seiya is the same." Ikki's fist was blocked with one finger. "What is this? I can feel a small universe far above our Saint Seiya's from him." As if they couldn't hide their surprise, several people from Binghe shouted out. "This small universe has a warm feeling like the spring sunshine, and there is no evil aura from this person. Who is he?" Moment murmured to Yu Xing in his heart, he had never imagined that this person would hide such strength. Sayori, who was watching on stage, just had a smile on his face. He knew that if Yu Xi made a move, it would definitely be resolved perfectly. After Yuxing blocked Ikki's attack, a small cosmos in his hand was sent out, and like a force of energy, Ikki was bounced far away, and it slammed into the front wall. With a bang, the wall cracked, and Ikki vomited blood with a wahahaha. "Good, it's awesome, the small universe alone has bounced so far. No one intervenes in this fight." Ikki stood up slowly at this time, but his face was full of anger. "Unfortunately, you are just a bird, and you are still far from the real phoenix." Yu Xing laughed at him for being too weak. "What? You just laughed at me as a chick?" Ikki couldn't stand such an insult. "Ah, don't mind, it's just a metaphor. Stop talking nonsense. If that's the case, take my punch and see how the phoenix spreads its wings." He waved his right hand, and the phoenix form appeared. "Fenji Tian Xiang!" Ikki shouted and punched out with his right fist. The strongest mystery of the phoenix constellation appeared, and a strong wind swept across the place, shocking Seiya, the others, and the audience. This force is heading towards Yuxing. But he did not block at all, the attack was blocked by an invisible barrier before his eyes, and then dissipated. The phoenix disappeared immediately. Humph, so this is how a phoenix spreads its wings. It's like a cool breeze. Yuxing was unscathed at all. What? This man can't even move. The hardest hit was definitely Icky himself. Phoenix, don't forget that there are people on top of you, even if you think you are the strongest. But a bronze saint or a dark saint is just a chick in front of the golden saint. This analogy is not at all exaggerated. Yuxing lifted one finger forward, and a golden lightning flashed. With a bang, lightning swept past and hit Icky's body. With a scream, the holy clothes on his body were smashed into pieces, his consciousness gradually became blurred, and his whole body was injured. No, impossible! He is a golden saint? I can't even fight back in front of him. There is such a powerful man in this world. Such a powerful force, dimension, just different, then fell to the ground. I can't believe it, just one finger smashed the holy robe of the Phoenix constellation. Faced with this fact, the audience opened their mouths in surprise. UCI walked over, and Icky was seriously injured, but he didn't lose consciousness. Is he going to give me the final blow? But I can't resist. He had already given up in his heart, and it was useless to resist. In the face of this man's powerful power, there is no chance of even a 1 in 10,000. Yu Xing walked to his side and looked at him for a while, but a smile appeared on his face. I originally thought that if there was evil in your eyes, I would kill you here. But the strange thing is that you don't even have a dark cloud in your eyes. It may be difficult for ordinary people to know that you are the kind of suppressing justice in people from the bottom of their hearts. This kind of person is really interesting. After turning around and walking up, Icky's consciousness gradually blurred. Instantly ran to Icky's place. Brother, Yuxing waved his right hand, and a golden lightning shot down from the air, attacking all the dark saints in the ring. Lightning spread out like a pillar of light, and the dark phoenix made a terrifying scream, as if the of thunder struck them with his thunder, and the arena shone with golden light. The audience was surprised. After a while, all the dark saints turned into powder and disappeared, leaving only a black mark on the ring, which is the proof of their existence. When Seiya and the others saw that he just took care of Icky and the dark saint Seiya, they were so shocked that they couldn't say a word. Such a powerful microcosm and unique trick had never been seen before. It's amazing, and our strength is simply the difference between heaven and earth. It's just... Zilong couldn't hide his surprise. Yes, this is the power of the Golden Saint, Yuxing told them all. Golden Saint! The four shouted in unison, and this fact gave them the biggest shock. UCI looked at Sayori in the stands, and the expression on his face seemed to be saying to her, this will solve it. It's not that Sayori doesn't understand, no, she can see it. It was precisely because he knew Yuxing's strength and his character. Sayori would trust him so much. Hey, UCI! What do you mean by Golden Saint Seiya? Seiya didn't miss this topic casually, and he still wanted to understand the meaning of Yuxing's words. The time is not yet ripe. You will know why I am here. But don't worry, I will never hurt you bronze saints. I might as well train you. Looking at Seiya, UCI answered him like this, and then walked towards Shun. Wait, what the is going on here? This is not the time to say this, I said it, and I will tell you when the time comes. Regardless of Seiya and the others' questions, from UCI's point of view, now is not the time to reveal everything. After seeing his strength, no one who didn't know the humor went up to ask him the real truth. I'm sorry, Shun. Coming to his side, Yuxing first said an apology. Really don't understand. Icky, I'm going to take him away for the time being. After all, he's making a fuss here. It's already a scandal for the Gulado Consortium. I have something to ask him, don't worry, I won't do anything to him. But... I also understand that you are thinking of your brother. He came back this time for revenge. He wanted to kill you and the golden cloak. There must be some purpose. I want to ask him the reason. Evil, I won't take his life. After Uci finished speaking, he raised his hand, and a force drove Iki, who fell to the ground, away from the ring. Then, I'll go first. After speaking, Uci also left. Only Seiya and the others remained in the arena. That guy, who is it? Sweat dripped down Zilong's face. He has so much power. Glacier watched the departing back. Uci, who are you? Even though he knew Uci, he didn't know anything about him. Seiya. After a lot of trouble, in short, the conference can go on. The battle between Shun and Zhou in the fifth game was also the final decision of Shun's victory. Uci only went to see Sayori after Iki was taken to the hospital of the Gerudo Consortium. The situation was as he expected, and the enemy did appear. However, this is just the beginning. The enemy will keep coming to Japan. It would definitely be troublesome to report on the news the next day, Uci advised Sayori. After all, it is not a trivial matter for the Dark Saint Seiya to come to the Golden Cloak and destroy the game. And Sayori has made up his mind to stop this competition. As Uci said, the media and newspapers kept explaining the events of last night's Galactic War. The Galactic War was temporarily suspended, and before the semifinals, the Dark Saint Seiya came to the Golden Cloak. The leader is a boy who was sent to the world by the Gerudo Foundation for training. There are many unauthorized reports, which make people angry. Then, Sayori-san. What was the reason for the suspension of the competition this time? At today's press conference, reporters kept asking about this topic. They received the most attention. Yes, I'm really sorry for not being able to let the people of the world finish watching this game. My apologies to everyone here, Sayori Shirato. Follow her and bow. The reporters' cameras kept shooting. Actually, I don't want to stop it, because this is my grandfather's dream for many years. But as you can see, the Dark Saints came to the Golden Cloak, disrupting the competition, and this kind of behavior can't be ignored. If the game goes on, the spectators who come to watch will also be affected and hurt. In any case, this must be avoided. Sayori still said in a firm tone, of course, there are more reasons for not going ahead with the competition, but it is not something that can be announced to the outside world. Are you trying to say that it's impossible to stop it? The reporters spoke in a strong tone. If this puts the spectators in danger, of course we can't let the game continue. For me, the safety of the spectators is more important than the competition. As the organizer, I must put their safety first. Indeed, if the Dark Saint Seiya took the audience hostage and demanded to hand over the Golden Cloak, in this case, if they did not hand it over, they would be implicated, and the reporters also understood this truth. I'm really sorry. After saying that, Sayori stood up. Follow out of your seat. Chen has also followed behind. Ms. Sayori, here are my thoughts as a representative of the Gerudo Foundation. A reporter ran to Sayori and pointed the microphone at her with the most direct question. Only one thing is clear. Sayori closed his eyes and answered. Oh, that is. The purpose of this competition is to let people in the world know what love and courage are, and what fight and strength are through the martial arts competition. It is also an ideal. However, it was trampled by the Dark Saint Seiya. There was a lot of helplessness in Sayori's last words, and everyone could hear it. It wasn't that she wanted to stop the game, but she had to do so considering the impact of those despicable Dark Saints. This is undoubtedly her sincerity, and she doesn't want the audience to be implicated, otherwise the Gerudo Consortium will really be cast aside. Sayori only said that to the reporters and left. Good work, miss. Going to another place, in a room without reporters, Uci said condolences to Sayori like this. Is that all right? Uci. In fact, this matter was proposed by Uci, and it can be used to deal with reporters and media. It's okay, it's a bit of a fuss, but I think the audience can understand it. Even if they don't understand, there's nothing they can do about it. Although it seemed casual, you see I only brought it up to Sayori after thinking. Next, just wait for the evil power to appear, and the arena is being built for that. Sayori looked up at the ceiling, recalling what his grandfather had said in the past, and now he's starting to verify those facts. The first wave of evil was exactly the Dark Saint Seiya. Suddenly a shout came from outside the door. Yuxing and Sayori looked over and saw that Chen had suddenly opened the door and rushed in. What's up? Not good, ma'am. Looking at Chen Ji's tone, as if something important happened, he answered breathlessly. The report from the hospital just now said that Iki of the Phoenix Seed had escaped. It turned out that this incident made the atmosphere so tense and made Yuxing have the idea of pranking. Oops, it looks like I ran away because of bad hospitality. Yuxing said it as if it was none of his business. Yesterday, Iki left immediately after he was sent to the hospital. He didn't tie him up on purpose, and it didn't make any sense. After all, to change Iki, there is no way to wake him up without fighting. And Yuxing also knew that he would reform and did nothing to him, and it was expected that he would escape. Anyway, the golden cloak is here now, so there is no need to worry. You bastard, can't you do a good job? What's the matter with letting him escape? Chen had already yelled at Yuxing, probably because he was very dissatisfied with his behavior. Morning, show some respect to Yuxi. If it wasn't for him, the golden cloak might have been taken away by now. Sayori immediately told him to shut up, although Yuxi didn't care at all. After all, knowing that Chen already has such a personality, it's not bad to use it as a pastime. Yes, yes, miss. Chen did not dare to resist Sayori. Anyway, let's be more careful next time. I know. Sayori took Yuxi's advice to heart. Today, the dark black and white bird seat first rubbed and abused for a moment. Then he fought a battle with the real Shiratori Saint Seiya Glacier. Although he had the advantage, he was also hindered by others. People who look a lot like Seiya, Zilong, Shun, and Glacier but are known as the four heavenly kings of the Dark Saint Seiya stand in front of them. The purple dragon cloth is damaged and cannot be used, which is also a serious problem. I wanted to take it back to repair it and go back to Wu Laofeng to visit his teacher, but Yuxing stopped him. What? Is my teacher okay? In the mansion of the city households, the base camp of the Gulado Consortium, Yuxing told Zilong the real reason for this incident. Yes, the teacher is still healthy. He deliberately lied to you to say that. Why is that? Because of the weakness in your heart, he wants to tell you that you are immature as a Saint Seiya. If you mind, I can take you to the 5 old peaks. Zilong wondered why he wanted him to take him there. There was no reason he didn't know the way to Wu Laofeng. Before that, you don't have to worry about the holy cloth. Yuxi refers to the holy garment of the constellation Draco. I've fixed it and can wear it now really. Zilong shouted in disbelief. It's not just you, even Pegasus' holy clothes have been repaired. Now both the power and the defense are much higher than before. The dragon cloth died, and Yuxing resurrected it by special means. Then use the star sand for repairing the holy clothes to completely repair it. He is not a saint cloth restorer, nor can he reach that level, but at this level he will still be able to. When Seiya and the others put on the holy clothes, they really felt a different power than before, and the holy clothes were full of vitality. This also prepares me to fight against Iki and the Dark Saint. I can't leave because I want to protect the young lady. This is a test you have to pass. Come on. Yuxing encouraged Seiya and the others like this. Okay, Seiya also burned with energy. After that, Zilong went back to Wu Lao Peak by himself. Although he refused Yuxing to take him there, he was not angry. On the contrary, now he has to report some things to the teacher of Wu Laofeng, and decides to go there. Shortly after Zilong left by plane, Yuxing disappeared from Japan and went to China's Wulao Peak in an instant. In front of the waterfall, a small old man sat there. He wears a cloak, his face is covered with a long white beard, and he looks vicissitudes. "Teacher, long time no see," Yuxing said to him in honorific language, and then gave him a slight salute. As for the old man in front of him, he naturally knew who he was, and he respected him very much from the beginning. "Oh, is it Yuxi?" Known as the famous teacher of Wu Lao Feng, in fact, he has known him for a long time. "Yes, I made a special trip here to report something to you, as I expected before." Looking at him, it revealed a strong light and awareness. "He, Yuxi, your teleportation is still as powerful as ever. It's a inspiring ability to come to Mount Wulao in an instant in Japan." The words were a little off topic. Yuxing first smiled wryly, and replied in a tone of "You are too complimented." Their acquaintance was a year ago. At that time, Yuxing was not yet Sayori's bodyguard, but lived in China. It was at that time that he had come to Wulao Peak from afar and met him here. Although he had only met him once, Zilong's teacher was very afraid of Yuxing. It should be said that he is afraid of the power he possesses. It is difficult to describe it with other words. For him, it can only be measured by unfathomable. Just how much power Yuxing possessed, probably no one but himself would know. Even Wu Lao Feng's teacher knows that his strength is far superior to himself, and he can easily erase the aura of the small universe so that no one can notice it. Yuxing at that time once showed his small universe in front of him. A powerful force comparable to, or even higher than, the Golden Saints. He can only think so, for Yuxing, he must be more than that. His strange little universe has never been seen by him who has lived for hundreds of years. What exactly is that? The answer may not be answered by anyone. In short, Yuxing is a young man with a true heart of justice, which can be felt from his small universe. Yuxi also said that he would become Athena's Saint Seiya, and this news was big news that gave him a premonition that a new era of Saint Seiya was coming. Yuxing has not given the status of Saint Seiya yet, but that is only a matter of time. No, it is correct that his guardian constellation has appeared, but the time has not yet come. Even Sayori understands which constellation Yuxi is most suitable for. Is that so? Is there a high possibility that Sayori of Japan is Athena? Zilong's teacher looked at Yuxing. He was physically weak because of his old age, but his voice was very loud. "Yes, as I said before. Letting the Bronze Saints be the galactic war of competitive battles is the first step that can lead to the evil in the sanctuary, the Pope. This proof has been reflected in the Dark Saints, and the sanctuary is naturally not ashamed of them, but Aki is a regular saint. As the leader, he is the saints sent by the sanctuary to punish private fights." As a traveler, Yuxing maintains absolute confidence in this matter. "I have been to Jamil and met Mu, the restorer of the holy clothes. I learned from him that the evil 13 years ago had suddenly cut off the Pope's microcosm, and it was better to become another person. Mu always also I don't believe it was his mentor." After being silent for a while, the teacher continued to speak. "Yes, my best friend is a man who will never fall into darkness. However, there is indeed an evil little universe hidden in the depths of 13 years' sanctuary. And that evil will soon be exposed to the sun below. If Sayori Jodo in Japan is the real Athena, the situation will become the same as the Holy War 243 years ago." Suddenly, as if recalling that time, the teacher turned his eyes to the sky. "It's really long, more than 200 years. As expected of the Golden Saint who lives in the former Holy War, the child tiger of Libra. Tonghu, that is the name of Zilong's teacher. Like Yuxing, both are Chinese. Say what? You will soon be in the same position as the old man. It refers to the same level, which means that it will become a Golden Saint. I don't have this plan for the time being. I will at least keep silent until the sanctuary is dispatched." The dark saint Seiya and Ikki are still not in the mainstream, and Yuxing is completely ignored. Are you going to protect Giotto Sayori? Yes, since her identity has been determined, I will do this task. It is our mission to protect the goddess from evil. Yu Xing's firm belief makes Tonghu feel gratified and full of expectations. That's really reliable. Tonghu's answer seemed very happy. Including your disciples, there are several bronze saints with good potential. If you train hard, you will definitely become quite powerful saints in the future. I plan to nurture them gradually. Really? I'll leave this to you, Yu Xi. I know, don't worry. I will definitely protect Athena's safety and connect it to the upcoming holy war in the future. After speaking, Yu Xing bowed again. The figure disappeared in front of the waterfall on the Wulao peak of Mount Lu in the next instant. A new era is coming. After Yu Xing left, Tonghu suddenly smiled and said such a sentence. It was night in the castle of Japan. The game of Galactic War was supposed to be played at this time, but it was cancelled due to the invasion of the Dark Saints. Even if there are people who are dissatisfied, there is nothing that can be done. For their safety, Sayori's decision can be said to have lost the name of the Gerudo Consortium. The person who suffers the most must be herself. Sayori was sitting in the yard. Although there were beautiful flowers and plants nearby, she had no intention of it at all. There was only a cup of coffee on a table next to it, and the silent night reminded her of what Yu Xi said to her when she first came to this mansion. That was only 8 months ago. Yu Xi, who rescued Sayori, was invited to her house. Although Chen had objected, Sayori still insisted on doing so. Sayori heard shocking words from Yu Xi's mouth while thanking him. That's about the Saint Seiya thing. Ordinary people should not know, and then they realize that Yu Xing is not an ordinary person, but a young man with the power of a saint. Then, Sayori also told him about his grandfather's deeds so far. Yu Xi knew about it for a long time, but he pretended that it was the first time he heard that, and replied Sayori with, "What an amazing person. Miss, your grandfather should have said before he died that someone would hinder the galactic war? Find out where that evil force is." "Yes, Grandpa told me that." Sayori faintly sensed that Yu Xi knew a lot of things, and wanted to learn some important clues from him. That was definitely not the idea of Yu's. In fact, she also told Yu Xi and Chirato Mitsusa about it. "Do you know the origin of that golden cloak? What evil force is going to take it away?" Yu Xi had not seen the holy garment at this time, but only learned from Sayori's mouth. "I only heard that the holy clothes were entrusted to my grandfather by others, and I don't know much about the rest." Such an answer is also reasonable. The most important thing is that Yu Xi can't see that Sayori is lying. It's okay to do that, after all, everyone has a secret. I can tell you with certainty that the galactic war will definitely stop in the middle. Because those evil forces will come to interfere, thinking about robbing the golden cloak. This fact made Sayori's eyes widen with a looking shocked. "You said stop. If the holy clothes are robbed, the conference will not go on. Even if you want to stop it, it would be too stupid to resist them with the strength of bronze saints. Also, do you know who that evil force is?" Suddenly, Yuxing's expression and atmosphere changed, making people afraid to approach casually. "Who is that?" She herself wanted to know the answer. "Who is it?" Then she questioned. "I believe you also know that the holy garments are the heritage of Greece. It is the birthplace of the saints. Since ancient times, the saints have been responsible for protecting Athena and maintaining world peace, so you should be able to understand. Does the power of evil refer to the sanctuary?" "That's right, and that person is the Pope of the sanctuary now." Sayori had heard from his grandfather about the existence of the Pope. Hearing that he was the source of evil forces made her cover her mouth. The current Pope is no longer the past Pope. Yu Xi continued talking as if he could see through Sayori's thoughts. "No, it should be said that the Pope is a man with two faces, good and evil. It seems that the good side is occupying the moment, but sooner or later the evil side will emerge. I believe that will be in the near future. The Pope has a dual personality, do you mean to say that? As if she didn't believe it, Sayori had never heard of such a thing. You will soon know that in order to the Golden Cloak, the assassins of the sanctuary will continue to appear in the future, trying to kill you and the Bronze Saints. Why should even himself and them be killed? Sayori doesn't know much. The reason why he has to deal with those bronzes is that the Pope is afraid that Golden Saints will be born among them, which will hinder him, so he will have no worries if they are removed before they grow up. You see, I just wanted to convince Sayori and make her believe in herself. These words are things that he still remembers before crossing, and he doesn't need to check. Sayori, who came back from the memory, sighed and drank the coffee from the cup. Miss, you haven't slept yet. Suddenly a young voice came from the left. Wandering Star Sayori looked at him and put the glass down on the saucer on the table. It was a little rude when I remembered that I asked UCI to be my guardian at that time. Although he didn't care about that, but thinking about it now, Yusing spoiled himself a lot of the time. He might have thought that he was that Sama, but of course that was his own opinion. Did something happen? Seeing the dark cloud on Sayori's face, UCI asked her that. Today, the challenge letter for Dark Saint Seiya came. Oh, so what? What Yusing asked was not so what, but so. No, in fact, this question itself is just a formality, and it sounds completely innocuous to him. Hearing what happened from Sayori, UCI still kept the same expression on his face. The location is in the Killing Valley of the Northern Alps, as a place for a final battle. I see, that's the right place for them to fight. Yusing, you are too relaxed. No, miss. It's not too easy, I didn't take them seriously. And this time the target should be Seiya and the others. Did you say you want to hand over the golden holy clothes? If Iki escaped, he would still be the leader. However, because he is there, he may not be willing to gamble on the golden holy clothes to fight. After all, Yusing has already made him suffer, and he cannot ignore this problem. That's not true, just let Seiya and the others go. Sayori seemed to convince herself. Really? But I won't take action. The Dark Saints are just a mob. If Seiya and the others are true saints who uphold justice, they will surely win. Let them settle the grievances with Iki. If you can't even do this little thing well, how can you face bigger challenges in the future? Sanctuary will continue to send people to kill them. For Seiya and others, this is just the first test. Your calmness is really reliable, UCI. She was still worried, but after UCI's words affected her, Sayori recovered. The next day, he told Seiya and the others what was going to happen next. The mastermind of the evil forces, as well as the Golden Cloak and Yuxing, have spoken out. Everyone was surprised and inconceivable, but thinking about it, they thought it was very possible. Seiya is the most unbelievable of them all. Impossible, how could such a thing happen in the sanctuary? You said that it was the Pope who operated Iki and the others behind their backs. I know you don't believe it, but it's all true. The current Pope is evil incarnate, not the man you know in the sanctuary. Believe it or not, the fact will soon be known. For Seiya, UCI can also understand his mood, but they know it will be a matter of time, and now it is just a little earlier. The Pope of the Sanctuary sent assassins to kill our Bronze Saints and the Golden Cloaks. If these are true, it would be a terrible thing. Glacier, who spoke objectively, made a judgment on this matter. Your battle with Iki is just the beginning. There are still many challenges waiting for you in the future. Only by becoming stronger can you defeat a strong enemy. After the battle with Iki is over, I will tell you more amazing facts. You're talking about a more startling fact. What is that? The time is not yet ripe, I will tell you after the battle with Iki is over. Completely ignoring Seiya and Shun's words, Uci looked away at Sayori and nodded. After a few days, the day of the decisive battle came. Zilong had returned to Japan long before that day. This time, he was in good condition without repairing the holy clothes. Sayori had people fly Seiya and the others to the northern Alps. The challenge letter was sent by the other party, and they had no reason not to participate in the war. Although there was no competition for the golden cloth this time, the matter with Iki and the Dark Saints had to be resolved. The Alps, the mountain that symbolizes Japan, but it also hides many unknown mysteries. The most representative place is the Sea of Trees located on the Aoki Plateau in the northwest. If you accidentally step in, you will lose your direction. It is said that no one can pass through this place smoothly. In addition, the caves, ice caves, and caves leading to Mt. Fuji also contain quite a few mysteries. There are quite a few dangerous labyrinth-like caves lurking at the bottom of Mount Fuji. The most shocking thing is that I heard that the caves of the Enoshima Island in Shonan can directly reach the halfway of Mount Fuji. However, those who entered the cave never came out alive. No, there is one person. However, I heard that his nerves have been completely destroyed. There are many more in such a terrifying labyrinth of Mount Fuji. Everyone, please come back safely. Sayori was wearing a burgundy tight dress and suddenly showed concern to the four of them on the plane, which surprised Seiya and the others. However, since they returned to Japan, this young lady has always been very gentle and not as capricious as in the past, which made her impression of her keep getting better. Moreover, they also want to understand why Uci is so good to Sayori. They know there must be some special reason. They, who had put on holy clothes before boarding the plane, jumped directly above the valley. Uci and Sayori watch them go to the battlefield. If this matter is handed over to Ucing, it will be over in 5 minutes. But he can't ignore the growth of Seiya and the others, he can only let them experience it. Don't worry, I'm sure they will get through this crisis. Seeing the worried look on Sayori's face towards Seiya and the others, Uci took her shoulder and comforted her. Is it really good to do this? The voice seemed a little sluggish. If they are true saints, they will surely return safely. Because your prayers will lead the saints to victory. It's not literally, Uci is telling the truth, Sayori's prayers can do that. The battle is about to start, Seiya and the others are fighting for the first time. It will continue in the future. Athena's Saint Seiya is to maintain justice, and the peace of the world will depend on you in the future, so let's become stronger. Ucing also prayed for them in his heart. Into the valley, it makes people feel uncomfortable. What's this smell like a boiled egg? It smells of sulfur. The person who answered Seiya was Glacier. Where are those guys? Seiya looked around, but saw no one. Can't be careless. Okay, let's go. We need to defeat Iki and the 4 Diablo Kings early. That's the crux of the problem, and don't care about the unpleasant atmosphere here. At this moment, Iki's voice came, telling them that they would be waiting at Shishi Rock in front of them. The 4 brought the bell that Shun brought. Even if they are separated, if they can hear the sound, they will know the direction and they will know that they are still alive. In this battle, I didn't bet on the golden clothes, Iki just wanted to kill them before entertaining them here. Soon, the 4 separated in 4 directions, and they also met the 4 heavenly kings. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Seiya. Seiya, who had been walking in the valley for a while, heard a voice from behind and turned around immediately. You are Dark Pegasus. Both the holy clothes and the appearance are very similar to Seiya, but the other party is all black. I thought you were too scared to come. The Dark Pegasus provokes as soon as it comes up. Are you alone? Seiya is asking no one else? Because he didn't think the enemy in front of him could deal with him. Dark Pegasus jumped down from above and kicked over. It's useless to talk. He kicked a few times in a row in front of him, but Seiya avoided them one by one. It's better to avoid it, whether it's a genuine compliment or a fake one, I don't know. Don't underestimate us, this is for you. Seiya shouted loudly and punched several times with his left and right hands. Dark Pegasus barely avoided, hitting the rock behind. Seiya kicked out the meteor fist with his fist, the opponent hit the stroke, and his body flew backward and fell to the ground. Then Seiya jumped up to him and punched him in the face. With a bang, the Dark Pegasus avoided it, but the stone wall behind him was destroyed. His face was full of shock, and Seiya's strength far exceeded his imagination. But he fell over his shoulder and threw Seiya to the left. Seiya didn't fall, turned around and landed on both feet. Dark Pegasus immediately jumped up and punched. Dark Meteor Fist. If Seiya's fist is said to be white, then he is a black fist. Seiya faced his fist and felt a different feeling than before. It's not the same as it has been so far. I can see every single one of his punches. Seiya evaded left and right facing his fists, and rushed towards him. The Dark Meteor Fist couldn't even touch his body, and Seiya kicked it out, facing his face. The Dark Pegasus spat out a mouthful of blood, flew away, hit the rock wall behind, and suddenly a big hole appeared. Seiya looked at his hand and thought, is this the proof of growth? Not doing nothing this week. Yu Xing exercised him a little, not against each other, but by teaching him to learn to control the small universe more easily. Seiya has made a lot of progress, although that is just an extension of the Bronze Saint. Seeing that the other party had nothing to do, the Dark Pegasus looked surprised. No. Impossible. You can avoid all my punches at such a close distance. You bastard. If it was before, I would have been hit long ago. But after a few days of training, my growth has far surpassed yours. For example, the speed of boxing. Seiya confidently said that he was different from the other party. Since he had the best relationship with Yu Xing among the four, he made the fastest progress. Damn, since this is the case, I have to focus on attacking a little. After standing up, Pegasus Diablo intends to do something. At this time, Seiya has already begun to pose. Take a good look, Dark Pegasus, this is the real. It traces the trajectory of the 13 stars of Pegasus. Pegasus Meteor Fist. Seiya swung out, and the meteor with more than 100 punches flew away, faster than before. Dark Pegasus reluctantly jumped up to avoid it, followed by a punch. Dark Meteor Fist. But he was already hit by the time his punch was sent out, and Seiya's meteor punch became stronger and faster in the past few days. Dark Pegasus hit dozens of punches in an instant. And the Dark Meteor Fist that flew away was concentrated at one point. Seiya's eyes had caught it, and he remembered Yuki's warning. Dark Pegasus has a unique trick called Black Death Fist, and you must avoid it when you see the meteors are concentrated. Otherwise, life will be in danger. Before coming here, Yu Xing had told them about the characteristics of the opponent's ultimate move, just in case. Seiya, who was almost killed in the original work, didn't want to let him suffer like this again. These words sounded in Seiya's mind, and he could clearly see the flying fist. The body jumped up and dodged naturally. Black Death Fist was easily dodged by him. Dark Pegasus was greatly surprised, but at this time he had already hit the ground with a punch, and he couldn't stand up. After struggling a few times, he died of breathlessness. After Seiya saw his death, he felt a little unbelievable. His fist strength and speed were really much faster than before. The first battle after the special training has such results, I can't help but be overjoyed. Without wasting time, continue to the Lion Rock. At the same time, on the other side of the valley, there was a small waterfall on the rock wall, and there were two people standing there. They looked exactly the same, but they were white and black. However, the black side was blocked by the ring of ice crystals and couldn't move. Dark Black and White Bird, you can't escape that ring, then, just leave for me. Glacier easily overwhelmed the opponent. They had fought before this, and it was almost a draw, and this time it was indeed Glacier's overwhelming advantage. The freezing air of the dark black and white bird constellation only froze a layer of skin of the glacier, and the second time was not even up to this. The real Shiratori immediately blocked the opponent's actions. You're wrong, even if it is defeated, the Dark Saint will not beg for mercy from the enemy. If you want to kill, just kill it. I will never surrender, nor will I be afraid of death. This kind of spirit is quite valuable even as a Dark Saint. The Saint Seiya who cultivated Glacier taught him to be completely ruthless when facing the enemy. Since the enemy is not afraid of death, there is no reason to care so much, so he closed his eyes. Is that so? Then, Dark and Black Torii, I will bury you in order to show respect for your fighting spirit. What? If diamond dust is static, it's movement. And it's Shiratori's strongest fist. Glacier stretched out his hands, like a white bird flapping its wings and flying, ice crystals appeared around him, 2 punches hit the sky, followed with the left and right punches, and both hands folded and clasped together, and swung forward. Aurora thunder attack. Aurora lightning strike. A strong cold air was swept up around him, stronger than diamond dust, like a blizzard attacking with lightning. The whole body of dark blackbird was swept up by the cold air. The result was frozen on the ice wall, and Glacier's victory was assured. Dark and Blackbird, originally you were going to become a permanent icicle. I'll leave your right hand. If you're a Saint Seiya, there should be a way to escape. However, Glacier seemed a little careless. Dark Black and White Bird sneered. Don't think you've won, Shiratori. Your strongest fist is useless against Ikki-sama. The unexpected words surprised Glacier. What? My whole body and mind have memorized your punches, so it won't work the second time. Then he took down the white bird head on top of his head, injected his psychic power, and burned the largest small universe. Glacier also saw something unusual. What are you doing? Ikki-sama. After he finished speaking, he disappeared because he burned out a microcosm that surpassed the limit. Glacier had no idea where the things he sent had gone. Shun is now fighting against Dark Andromeda. There is no injured Seiya as a burden like in the original work. This time Shun is very brave. Dark Andromeda can't take advantage of it at all, and even Shun's body has not been touched. But he has a gentle personality, doesn't want to hurt others, and always doesn't fight hard, causing the other party to think that he is playing with him on purpose. Dark Andromeda's black chain turned into a snake shape but was completely defeated by Shun's chain. He looked surprised. Shun's body reacted to dodge easily, and then counterattacked with the reinforced chains. The difference between authentic and tribute is too big to compare. Look, the real Andromeda Nebula chains, Shun shouted and waved over. The corner lock smashed their black lock, and he was also attacked by the chain. The dark cloak was destroyed, spewing a mouthful of blood, and fell to the bottom of the cliff. Needless to say, he was dead. Then, the last opponent of Zilong is the Dark Dragon. The strongest of the 4 heavenly kings, he fought almost on the same level as Zilong, and was completely on par with the offensive and defensive battles. To decide the winner, we can only use that trick. If the fighting techniques are the same, only the Nirvana can be used to distinguish the superior. I'm going, Dark Dragon. From Zilong's body, a very powerful momentum was emitted. It was like being possessed by a dragon god, making the enemy feel threatened. Lushan Chenglongba. The Saiyan dragon shattered the Dark Dragon, destroying his holy garment in an instant. Bleeding to the ground and dying. Yuxing's intervention changed everything.